Athletes are always challenging themselves to get better. You've seen this in all sports. Esports is no exception. You can never predict the outcome. The only thing you can control is how ready you are. Over and over, players adapt, trying to improve, fighting hard for every percent gained. Give everything you've got to the challenge and show your finest. Bring your best out. Strive for perfection. It's our goal too.
Hello PUBG Esports fans. The PUBG Global Invitational.S, our biggest tournament yet, begins in February. With a tournament this big, there's a lot to take in. So let's take a look at the format and rules of PGI.S 2021. PGI.S's main event, the weekly series, will be held for a total of 6 weeks starting from February 8th. It is divided into the weekly survival taking place on weekdays and the weekly final held over the weekend. Unlike the previous global tournaments, points are not accumulated week over week, giving every team the same fighting chance each week. Weekly Survival features 16 matches held across 3 weekdays. The goal for teams is simple: win a single chicken dinner. Once you win, you stop playing and move on to the weekly final. The next team on the waitlist takes your place and a new match begins. This list is determined by ranked decision matches to decide the order our 32 teams participate. These 24 deciding matches take place over 3 days starting from February 5th and will divide our teams into 4 different groups. The top 16 teams from these groups face off in the weekly survival matches first. The weekly final is more like the PUBG Esports you're used to. 10 matches are held across 2 days, and points the teams earn are added up to decide their final ranking for the week. The 16 teams that played in the weekly final get the first shot at next week's weekly survival, and the remaining 16 teams decide their placement on the waitlist during a bottom 16 match held every Saturday, before the weekly final. From there, the cycle continues throughout the tournament. One of the big differences with PGI.S is that instead of receiving prize money based on your final rank is determined by how much prize money you've won. We're awarding prize money every week, and the team who has collected the most at the end will be crowned our PGI.S champion. Here's how it breaks down. The first 8 teams to win a weekly survival match each week take home an automatic cash prize, earning more the sooner they win. From there, the winners of the weekly finals tournament get an even bigger cash prize. The first place prize being $25,000 on week 1, and growing to an astounding $500,000 by week 6, giving teams lots of opportunity to catch up and claim the title. Winning isn't the only way teams are earning cash though. 30% of the total profit made from PGI.S item sales goes back to participating teams. This money will be distributed based on the percentage of money each team won in the tournament, with bigger rewards for the higher performing teams. So, not only do you get cool skins and voting coupons to earn even more cool skins, but you're also helping your favorite teams bring home more well-deserved prize money. Win-win! That about wraps up our overview of the PUBG Global Invitational.S. Initial ranking decisions happen on February 5th, and the first official matches kick off on February 8th. So be sure to tune in, pick your winners, and cheer on your favorite teams across 8 weeks of intense PUBG action. Hello PUBG Esports fans. The PUBG Global Invitational.S starts on February 8th, and as is custom, we're launching a brand new Pick'em Challenge to go along with it. Each Pick'em Challenge is a little different, so make sure to watch all the way through to find out what's new and what's changed this time around. It all begins on January 20th and 21st when the Esports tab officially reopens inside the PUBG PC and console clients. All throughout PGI.S, you can use this tab to keep up to date on participating teams and players, along with real-time tournament info. This is also the first chance you'll get to purchase the first set of killer PGI.S gear and begin supporting your favorite teams. Since this is quite a long tournament, a second set of gear will become available at the end of February. The first challenges begin on February 6th, and you'll have from Tuesday to Saturday each week before the weekly final begins to participate in the challenges and pick your winners. Rewards from the previous week will be distributed before the next challenge begins. Now let's talk about those challenges. We've got 3 different challenges this time around, molded to work within the PGI.S tournament format, so pay attention even if you think you've played it all before. The first challenge is to guess the top 4 teams that will advance to the weekly final each week. If one of your selected teams makes it to the top 4, you'll get a prize according to the rank they end up in. Simple as that. You can pick 1 team per voting coupon you wish to use, and 4 teams are guaranteed to be worth EP, so choose wisely. The second challenge alternates its win conditions every other week. On weeks 1, 3, and 5, you'll have to correctly guess which team will score the highest skill points during the weekly final. A correct answer will award you a whopping 200,000 EP. On weeks 2, 4, and 6, you'll have to guess who will take home a chicken dinner during the 10 weekly final matches, with each correct answer earning you 25,000 EP. You can only win once per team, but the good news is you don't even have to pick which game they'll win, making this challenge even easier. This challenge also requires voting coupons, so make sure you plan out where you want to spend yours before making a selection. Voting coupons can be obtained by purchasing PGI.S gear, or through one of the free methods we'll talk about later. 30% of the revenue from PGI.S item sales is given back to participating teams, so pick up some cool PGI.S gear and show your team spirit. The final challenge requires you to pick the winner of the 32-team event match that takes place from March 5th through the 7th. This is a free event and requires no voting coupons, but can still net you a sweet 50,000 EP for a correct guess. Looking for ways to grab a couple free voting coupons and some EP? The first one's easy. Simply log into the Esports tab and you'll pick up a free voting coupon once per week. Make sure you grab them though, there's no going back if you miss a week. Secondly, we'll be randomly showing codes during the PGI.S broadcast. Codes for a free voting coupon will pop up during weekly survival broadcasts, and codes for EP will pop up during weekly final, rank decision, and survival tournament broadcasts. Fans who are quick enough can enter these codes in-game to earn free voting coupons and some free EP. You can only claim one free voting coupon per week through this code, and you can get up to 80,000 free EP during the entire PGI.S event. These codes are first come, first served, so be quick or try your luck again the next time a code appears. Once you've racked up a nice pool of EP, make a trip to the Esports store and choose from all the sweet new PGI.S gear available. You'll have until April 14th to spend your EP, so stop in early to plan out what you'd like and pick it up as soon as you earn that required EP. That about does it for this overview of the PGI.S Pick'em Challenge. Now it's your turn. Log into the Esports tab, research your teams, plan your strategy, and get picking. PGI.S is our biggest tournament yet, and we want you to win big alongside your favorite PUBG teams. PUBG, PGI.S, and the Pick'em Challenge. Your time to win starts now.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone across the world, and welcome to the PUBG Global Invitational.S 2021 reseeding. My name is Sims, and I am joined once again by the beautiful men, Clinton, Cameron. Guys, we've got 4 more games today to do this reseeding group. Now, yesterday we had 4, went through it all. There were some ups, there were some downs. Clinton, I'll start with yourself. Any particular highlights from yesterday you want to kind of dive into and talk about? Any particular standout teams that you thought performed exceptionally well or above and beyond your expectations?
Yeah, definitely Detonation Gaming White. I mean, of course, being on top of it, but what I was seeing from Detonation Gaming White was them correcting some of the mistakes I've seen in the past. What they've done in the past is oftentimes dove at compounds that they didn't have any information on, or they just sent it because they thought it was a good position in the circle, and they would lose fights because they just ended up, yeeting themselves into disaster. Now, yesterday, instead, they were taking good fights, they were taking compounds that they had information on, and they were making it work. And again, taking advantage of the fact that they are a good up-close and, personal combat team. They've always played good defense. Now we're seeing good offense from Detonation Gaming White. Can they continue that today?
Cameron, yourself, when we look towards Ence's performance yesterday, things were going super, super well in the first 2 games. We saw back-to-back wins, but it has to be fair to say the circle was certainly in their favour. When we moved to Erangel, things didn't go as well as planned with an 11th and 13th place. Do we look today to Ence to try and capitalise on those Miramar games, or is it just completely the other way around? Are they just looking to be consistent throughout all 4?
I think their playstyle isn't very particular for one map towards the other. I think they just got very, I don't necessarily want to use the term unfortunate, but just the way that their favor played out was stacked on the Miramar side of things. If you remember, at least game 4, the second Erangel game, that was a military circle, and those can be very, very hard to play around. But just the way that they played those endgames on Miramar to get the control that allowed them to win both of those games in a row, that's a skill that you can utilize on both maps.
So the standings as we currently sit, as we enter today for our last 4 games, Destination Gaming White, as we touched on it earlier on, up at the top, ends down in 2nd, Day Trade 3rd, Boomerang 4th. Now towards the latter stage yesterday, we were seeing quite a lot of APAC players towards the top of the damage done, towards the kills. Again, you would kind of anticipate a lot of those teams are starting to see one another, given that they're all within this lobby. 16th spot is not where you want to be once this is said and done. What these teams are playing for right now is they're playing for 17th seed. Once we go back to the weekly survival, every time somebody gets a chicken dinner and a win, they go forward to the weekly finals. One of these teams then steps up to the plate and steps up to the challenge. The quicker you can get yourself into the competition next week, the more chances you have of surviving, and more chances you have of getting through to the weekly finals. We saw yesterday, Liquid, they begin their transition to try and claim that first, I think it's $25,000 for first place within their first weekly respective prize pool. Who knows? We'll see. I mean, there's been some ups, there's been some downs throughout this competition, gents. We saw DA yesterday with 7 fell. We even saw Na'Vi in the weekly finals with 5 points, 1 point average across every single game. Like, it's just not what we'd anticipate from a team like Na'Vi. And while I know we're talking about 2 different competitions, Clinton, I just think seeing a competition like this, where you have survival aspects and survival elements, but you also have the esports side of it as well, for such a large amount of money, I mean, we're only just at the start, and that's what we need to think of, right? For teams that are down here, this isn't the end. We're into a point where it's a marathon and not a sprint. There's always that comeback mechanic, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think for a lot of these teams, if you're not performing well in this first week, really don't get too down on yourself. Don't get too beat up about it. There is a ton of room to kind of correct your mistakes. There's a ton of time. You can work with your coaching staff, with your analysts, get everything regrouped, get everything together. Some of these teams at the bottom, I mean, with DA, we saw them play great before. This weekend, it's not so good. Damwon Kia, they played great last weekend. This weekend, not so good. So for these teams, just readjust, just watch what the other teams are doing, and each like lobby during the week or during the weekends is going to be different. How are you going to adjust to those play styles as well?
I must say, like, I'm glad you kind of touched on down one. I think for me personally, I know Tiamba's in there as well, Cameron, but I'm still surprised that down one is probably down in 9th more than anything. I know they had a 2nd place to open up the day, but beyond that, it was kind of an average day. But it just feels like a night and day performance from what we saw through groups, because they just look like the world beaters in groups, and now they're seemingly, at least to me, looking like a bit of an average team. Do you think this is just a week 1 kind of shot falling and things will shake off as we go down the line?
I would hope so, and you have to imagine, considering how strong these players are, but this is sort of, we were always wondering what is this going to be like, this almost sort of neuroticness between one format then the other, then back to another format, then back to another. Like, the weekly survival is a completely different way of playing the game, and we saw Kia be one of the teams that was punished for not adapting to that. And even though we're back to the style that they dominated in the previous weekend, you're correct. You have to wonder, is that because of something getting in their head from the weekly survival? And I'm looking at their numbers right now. In previous games, generally you looked for Indigo and Under to be the main stars of the show, which they are here still, but then the damage for Kale and Sungjang is closer to a quarter or a third of the damage that Indigo and Under have individually. So at least for those two, if there's any issue with Kia, I'm first going to be looking at those 2 players to really need to step it up if Kia want to get back on towards their style, because the style that they were so victorious with on the previous weekend was a very frag heavy, very fighting heavy style of trolling around on the edges and wiping out teams in front of them, and you can't do that if you have 2 missing pieces of your roster.
MCG, another team that certainly we're looking for signs of life, and that recovery, I want to say, has started to begun. They picked up a win yesterday. They're currently in 6th. Again, 25 points compared to 43 up at the top. Anything can happen on any single given Sunday. We are on a Sunday. It's not a championship Sunday, but certainly to try and make something of this, you need to be doing well. Other teams that we're looking at, I think then we drop off probably down into the double digits. I mean, for me, Clinton, Tiamba, I've just not seen what I anticipated just yet. It's probably a little bit disappointing because, again, this was one of those world-beating teams that I expected much more from.
Yeah, I mean, outside of Ming's, outside the DA and Buriram compound yesterday, we haven't really seen much from them. I mean, that's the only highlight. And this is a team that should be solid from top to bottom. And it looks like in general, them and also MCG don't seem to have their communication on point. Their team fighting seems to be off. They just seem to be in bad places at the wrong times. Like, what I'm not seeing from them is, like, oftentimes for Tiamba in particular on the southeastern Miramar circles, they'd roam around. They're not doing that. They're holding compounds and playing scared, and I'm used to seeing them just kind of control territory and take what they want, and they don't seem to be able to do that for whatever reason.
Well, the players will be getting locked and loaded into the plane as quickly as possible. Just as a quick reminder that we mentioned yesterday, initially these games were not going to be streamed, but with PUBG, with StarLadder, with everyone else that came towards it and came together, we have managed to at least be able to bring these games to you. It's nice to see how it unfolds. I know it can be a little bit probably confusing with the whole bigger picture. This isn't the easiest format to follow in the world, but certainly I think it's giving us at least a good level of viewership. I mean, being able to tune into groups. We have a reseeding all the way at the start when we refresh into next month. It kind of, I will say this, Cam, for teams that don't necessarily perform, we know that how you win this, it's not necessarily by winning a game as such, by winning the overall point structure. It's about who picks up the most money. It's a very different format to what we're used to. But I still like that even coming into week number 5, maybe week 4 at a push, even if you're down in the rankings, if you can capitalize on weeks 5, week 6, I mean, hell, there's what, 250 grand up at one point? Like, there's some big numbers towards the latter stage of this competition if you want to come back.
You're underestimating it. It's 500K for first place on the final week. So it really does ramp up. And yeah, hopefully, I think that's what a lot of players have really been leaning on. I've listened to a little bit of chatter on social media as well as an interview, and I got the sense that from a number of different teams, they do express it's not the best weekend, not the best week for us, but this is sort of the warm-up area. It's the next weeks after this that's when the money really starts to ramp up. But that doesn't mean that you want to intentionally start slow. I think it's a really good tactic for players to remind themselves of so they don't tilt, but that money could still be useful for a tiebreaker. And also, you don't want to be caught in the trap of constantly being in the bottom 16, bottom 16, bottom 16, because we've seen how devastating it can be, like for a team like ENCE, who performed so well during the weekly survival, but they only were there for half the time. If they were there for maybe even 3 or 4 more games, they would have had that many more chances to make their way into the weekly final. And if that cycle of just being in the bottom, they keep getting caught up in that could be really bad for the momentum throughout this entire event.
Well, they are on your screen, so it wouldn't be right to not touch on them and speak about them ever so quickly. We saw yesterday 2 wins back-to-back. The first week, a couple of ups, a couple of downs, but certainly even through the survival, I don't think you can, if you look at ENCE's position, Clinton, like, there was consistency there. Granted, they didn't get a win, which is why they find themselves in the reseeding groups. But the consistency was still there, and I think eventually this is going to come, and they are one of those teams that we will be seeing towards the latter stages of this competition, up within those weekly survivals, up with those weekly finals, as we go further down the line. Again, I still think for ENCE, there is this picture painted on their back. Like a lot of people from Europe, from PEL, from everything else that's happened within the PCS1 stages, a lot of people were saying Tornado Energy, Tornado Energy, Tornado Energy. So I do think for ENCE, there is a time to shine, and this is it. This competition, you need to step up to the plate. As we are on board with them, Clinton, I want to kind of touch on this a bit more. This is the region that you cover and the teams that you know inside and out. T1, down in 14th, down in reseeding. I know they haven't had the best of times during PCS Asia, but for now, coming into this, how far do you think they can go in the competition?
I mean, the talent level is very high on T1. Again, it's one of those teams that you could say on paper looks quite good, but when it comes to their performance, it's been very lackluster for the most part. Part of that starts with what's going on with their decision-making in terms of how they spread out. So you're seeing this a lot in Korean teams where they really want to control a lot of space, where they really want to spread out. Gen.G in particular does this a lot, and Gen.G can do it a little bit better than T1, but now T1 is asking, particularly of Adder, a lot. You see Adder out on his own getting picked off very early on in games, and they need to find a way to correct that, because I don't think that either A, Adder is comfortable in that role, or B, that they're putting him in the right positions. And so part of that falls on the coaching staff, part of that falls on Starlord as the in-game leader. All of these things put together are causing a lot of issues for T1. They need to right the ship. I'd rather see T1 try to work together a bit more, because they need to get better at team fighting, and it needs to happen fast as well. Not only are they losing people early, but even if they're able to keep all 4 up, their team fighting quite lackluster as well.
Cammy, we didn't really get a chance yesterday. I'm hoping we get a bit more time now, but I am seeing a countdown, so I'm kind of worried. Zenith, what are you kind of anticipating so far from Zenith to come out of this one? Oh, you know what, Cammy? This has happened again. The same thing's happened again, where I tried to go onto a North American roster. And you know, I'm going to let you speak on it next game, because honestly, this is just becoming a joke now. For now, game 1 is about to start. Thank you very much to our sponsors as we go into this one. I pass it over. It's presented by Intel to Porosaurus and Toby.
Thank you so much, Sims. Ready for the first game of the day. It's going to be a tricky day for some teams. We got to look at the leaderboard just before, and I mean, my eyes were completely hot fixed on DA all the way down in the bottom. They came up with such a good start in the beginning of it, and well, I mean, now they find themselves in 16th in the bottom seed as well. Poro, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, you can't help but kind of look at them and you see how their performance from the earlier games has now stuck out like a sore thumb to what they've been able to put together. And the biggest thing to me, honestly, was that game 4 last night. I mean, they got center circle. They had a military circle, had a great compound, and still ended up going out 5th with only 6 kills. So, I mean, it's not like they're not getting chances, Toby.
It really isn't. It's and I guess that's really the bread and butter of this tournament. You desperately have to capitalize every single time you get a chance to, even more so than ever when you get spoon-fed circles. You have to make it work. Things that I don't want to see, which we are seeing right now, is GX and DXG right next to one another. This could be a cluster. It seems like it's going to be.
Once again, this did happen yesterday. Game 1, they fought it out. Game 2, DXG managed to take the high ground while Gex took the low, and they managed to avoid each other. But doesn't look like that's going to be the case this time. A few good shots from Leo. It's not going to be enough to get the knock just yet.
No, seems like they aren't too worried, at least for the sake of DXG. To be fair, I mean, to me yesterday, DXG a better day than I was anticipating them to see from them. GX I wasn't too worried about, but I've had, like, after the first week of games, I've had certain teams that I was looking forward to go, can you please just go back to the basics and do what you had so much success doing in your region that qualified you for this tournament? Because there are a lot of teams that I'm missing that aggression from, or the daringness, if that's even a word. I'm missing it from some teams, and I think DXG or Division X Gaming is one of them. There were chances they had throughout the ranking decision games where they could have gotten into a much better position than where they ended up being, or they could have, had they dared to take a fight, gotten themselves into a winning spot to clinch out wins. And it was just so many times, time after time, where they didn't. So seeing them on top now, same story for Destination Gaming Wide, playing scared now seems like they're finding themselves a little bit more comfortable, and that's should be good for them in the weeks to come.
Yeah, they've been able to get everybody up to the late game, which has been the biggest thing for them. I mean, 2 4th place finishes, a 1st, and then an 8th for Detonation Gaming. So, I mean, they're managing to make those transitions that have been so difficult. We've seen so many teams struggle with, Circle 4, 5, those late game transitions. And Detonation Gaming seems to be able, they figured something out in this lobby, at least, to be able to keep themselves alive, which is good news for them and bad news for anybody trying to chase them.
Yeah, and speaking of transitions, I guess we would use. I don't think you could get a longer rotation than the one about to come from Tianba, going all the way from Valdemar to, well, essentially Oasis up towards the north. They have a long road ahead of them. But then again, to be fair, Tianba ain't a team to hurry about those sort of things. They don't mind coming into the circle super late, so should be all right for them. Usually, it's especially on Miramatic. If you're committed edge shooting team, it's very rare that you'll see them move out instantly and try and get center positions regardless.
Yeah, it's a very kind of Ents-like philosophy when it comes to early game rotations. Obviously, this time doesn't have to worry about it. The circle went so far up to the north that they have they're damn near center just off Looting Tory. So yeah, it's they should be very happy, I would think, with this early game circle now.
For sure.
It's obviously the second shift is going to be the big tell, right? That's where we've been seeing some pretty monster hard shifts lately, and they've been sometimes often difficult to deal with. So we'll see how this second circle does go for them.
And even more so in this area of the map, because the elevation is so... I mean, it's just the terrain is so difficult to maneuver around, even though you look at the map and you go, oh, but it's only 500 meters away. You go, sure, but have you seen what's in that 500-meter stretch? I mean, first we have to cross a mountain, then we have to cross a flatland, then there's 16 compounds we have to get past, and then we have to climb. It's just, it's so difficult. So even though it might look simple enough on a map, and even though there technically should be space for teams to rotate, it's just getting there in time, which I think is probably a lesson that all these teams right now need to work on compared to some of the teams that are in the tops or like in the weekly finals. Is one thing is coming up with the right decision, but like agreeing to go with it fast enough is what
Yeah.
I'm missing from some of these teams. Commitment on decision. Even, I mean, I talked to one of the Oath players the other day, and they were saying that's what we've been having a hard time with. We know what to do, we know when to do it, but now that we're playing on a stage like this, we like they called themselves second guessing things that they would normally
Yeah.
never even think twice about ever. It's like we just gotta say, you know what, we're good enough, we can do this, let's just freaking do it. And like go full Shia LaBeouf on them, and I think that's what a lot of these teams gotta do.
Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head, and it's definitely it's one thing to say it and to know that you're doing it, to know that you're second guessing yourself, but then once you get in that moment, to not to have that confidence, have that faith in not only your teammates but yourself, to be able
Yeah.
to make the right decision and make the right movement at the right time. It's so easy. It's so easy to second guess yourself in this game, and
Yeah.
you gotta, like you said. I mean, these guys are all players playing at the top level of all their respective countries. They deserve to be here. They are here for
yeah.
a reason. Now it's just time to trust yourself.
Exactly. Keep in mind what it is that granted you the success to get here in the first place, and then see if you can keep on working with that. I love this Zenith. They got 2 knocks. First they got 1. He got back on his feet. Now they got Turtle again. And Roth, I mean, he's feeling this one right now for sure. He's pushing all the way up Jun. A lot of damage coming in towards Punij, I believe it was. No, Roth make that. He's going to go down low. But actually, no, Kickstart. He's able
Good
to find
cover.
Jun and return of it. So great knocks coming in. They know they still have 2 down because the building that Turtle got knocked in is an isolated one. Very smart plays from Zenith.
It's aggressive stuff coming out from Zenith. This is exactly what you want to see from them. And it's basically, up until this point, it's been a 2-man push between Roth and Kickstart. The rest of the boys just now getting there. The one thing that you have to worry about if you're Zenith is that third party. You can see Roth taking shots from range there in the back. I believe that's Buriram. Naradra might be taking those shots. So I would love to see Zenith collapse on this quickly.
Yeah, they have to. Seems, I mean, really, really smart decision making on their part up until this point. Let's see. They keep those full as well. It should be just 1 left alive. Yep, there is. It's gonna be, I mean, at this point, to be fair, practically impossible for JN to really go down and do anything here. Mates are coming. I was gonna say in, but nope, not quite the case. That one bounced out. Should be 3 flushes though. And JN, if you're lucky, you might get 1. But even that, I would say, I mean, this is where I look to Zenith and go, if you lose a player now to Jan, sure, you might get a player knocked. That's fair. I mean, it happens. But you got to be able to trade him. You cannot, like, it's inexcusable to get a player flushed in a 4v1. You just cannot do that. So even though right now he is kind of the snake in the compound, the surprise element, you got to know that he's there, and you got to be prepared to make that trade instantly should you find him.
Absolutely. And to be honest, after watching Zenith play for the entirety of 2020, that is something that they have had a problem with in the past. They'll finish wiping 3, and then Roth will kind of go about his merry way like he is wont to do, and then he'll just end up running into that last guy, trading out, and just kind of going down for a free flush essentially. Yeah. So it looks like they're not taking that risk this time, and they're just kind of holding on to that compound for the time being. I imagine they will probably. Never mind. I'm going to stop here.
You did the same thing I did, because that just happened. We were a second ahead on the map feed, and I think that's what you called as well. That is not up to one. I guess if there's a cast of curse to be had, then that was it right there. JN, we didn't want him to get 1, instead he gets 2. Both of them confirmed as well. Now he's trying to hold off against the remaining 2 players, Shinboy and Roth, trying to do some damage here. And well, that nade was pretty much on him. That's going to be a kill confirmed, but damage done already. And the problem for Zenith now is you just got prime real estate. You played it well, you came up, you kicked out LG Divine, but now other teams know that prime real estate, oh, watch out. Now other teams know that prime real estate compound is only inhabited by 2 players, and they might be coming for you.
Yeah, Buriram specifically was peeking over there. They managed to steal one of those kills away. Yeah, I mean, like you said, we said it before it even happened. It's inexcusable at this level to lose players like that to the Snake when you know you did not wipe that team. Like, you've got to be on the lookout all the time. Clear the compound if you have to. Do whatever you have to. But it's just I don't want to say. I'm trying to say it in the nicest way possible, but you can't let that happen. You can't
Just
allow that
because
to happen.
they're American friends or NFL, you don't have
No,
to. You don't have
honestly,
to be
I
polite,
would say
Poro.
I'm more likely to say the Americans because they know that I will pick on them. I will be more nice to every other region in this world, but I'll go after my NA boys for making some silly mistakes.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean that was one of them. And I don't wanna keep kind of slashing down on it, but when you find 3 or 4 and you then it looked to me like they were already now looking to scout further forward. They hadn't even cleared the top side of the compound yet. That's as you said. I mean that's mistakes made, and that's something. Hopefully, I mean that's a pretty clear cut one. Hopefully that's something you can look and go, well, let's never do that again. Hopefully from now on there'll be a little more. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. It's should be something they could work around coming into next games.
Speaking of easy for Ints as they find themselves dead center in a compound on the shift. They are absolutely laughing right now. Looks like MCG is trying to rotate through them as Element 36 and Damwon also kind of making their way there. But look at this compound that Ents has. Nobody is going to be able to get anywhere near them without them just being able to open up into them.
Yeah, exactly. And this whole area is so damn difficult to play around too. Ents might not have the best vision up like towards the east from that compound, but they have all the other teams doing a very big portion of the heavy lifting for them. There's so many compounds around that, as you can see here, I mean, even if Multi-Circle Gaming wanted to go somewhere center, they're getting shot at by so many teams from so many different angles that there's no way in hell they're going to pull up an Ents because there's just way too much traffic, like way too much heat in this area right now. Tianba, speaking of teams that were far away at one point, they've now made it all the way up here and sitting pretty decent position, but they have Multi-Circle Gaming right next to them.
This is such a weird place to fight right now. I can't imagine that too many teams have a lot of experience fighting in this wide open area just to the northeast of Tori. But you see Day Trade has wrapped around MCG and Tiamba. Fighting it out here is actually, I think, preventing a few other teams that are doing the long northern wrap from trying to make it in here. So you got Day Trade, you got Gex that are all coming around from the north side as well. And man, I got to believe if you're MCG, you want to finish this fight and get the hell out of there. Try to find somebody yet. Looks like Tank's going to find a little home for himself and just play that right now because that is just a dicey proposition being in those open plains.
Exactly. I mean, I think as soon as he realized that compound was open, it was like, well, it ain't much, but we're taking it. Let's just get the hell over here. He called his friends like, Summer, Lee, get the hell over here. And, well, I mean, to be fair, everything considered, yes, they do lose one, but looking at where they are, very, very center in this, and given how many teams they drove through, only losing one is almost kind of impressive.
Yeah, they'll take that. Honestly, I mean, that's basically, oh no, again? Come on, IQ. You gotta figure out how to drive this Murano eventually. But it's definitely difficult territory around there. They're gonna have some trouble here, actually, if they keep going the same way they're going. They might run right into Petrichor. You see Gray and Mahmood just kind of waiting. Where's it gonna go? Oh my God, Toby!
What? Is this the furthest north we've been in a very long time? It has to be north of Toraumata. That's uncharted territory. Probably even for some of these teams, to be fair. I hope you've run along those walls a lot before, because the game is going all the way up there, it seems like. And with that, not only are we going into uncharted territory, we're also going into very scarce and open territory with very, very minimal cover. I guess it's just a kind of... Yeah, it's maybe it's one of those game developer things. The further to the edge we go, the less important it is to put stuff, because whoever goes there. And now they will. Let's see here. Petrichor, though, up against DXG. First one comes in quickly.
Is he Augen? Your man's Augen right now. He's going to stay alive for right now. Angst left, going to get that heal off. The rest of Petrichor are going to come here and provide a little bit of support. But what we were saying, when you have a circle that is that much open field, it's all about who has managed to take good care of their vehicles up until this point, and can you continue to keep care of them? And oh my God, he just got destroyed. Okay, there you go. See, Zenith, take notes. That is how you push and look for a snake.
I was just gonna say, you don't have to look far to improve the gameplay, and that's exactly how I want to do it. The knock sometimes is inevitable, and that's why. I mean, especially when you have 2 players up that can go and do those things, that's how you do it, and that's why you do it like that. Yes, you get the player knock, but he gets back up on his feet. lead. Let's see if Long K can get away from there. His vehicle is not in the best of shape, but he's gonna... I was saying stay alive, but that's probably just very, very, very momentarily.
Oh, where's it gonna go? Can he duck it? Okay, all right. He got a little bit of good fortune there with the flip. No, okay, never mind. Tixie.
No. And he's gone.
Might not be Rustamar, but it'll be one. So Fergus is still alive. So we still have one representative of DXG in this, hanging out on that southwestern side of the circle. They most likely can get it. I mean, look, there's 53 alive, 15 up, but there is so much open real estate, but it all sucks. It's all terrible.
It really is. Everything to the north of the road is just shacks. It really is all that's open right now is shacks. I mean, it's and we gotta keep in mind as well, half the circle is unplayable. You cannot go across that wall in the north. So we're essentially playing with water in right now. Roth trying to get, to be fair, he does get in, but only the corpse, unfortunately. Fergus will fall as well. Some of these teams really struggling to move north. I'm loving what Petrichor is doing right now. We see them here on our screens. They're trying to make the wraparound towards the west. If they want to go north, they have to do it in this circle right now when they're doing it. Probably should have done it a bit earlier too. But this is the only chance they had to, and there's actually space up here. Ix will run himself over. He's going to die because of it. Circle's going to go into south now as well, and as much as I wanted to see that rotation from them, it kind of just got them into a worse position.
Well, now the new circle pops, and Damwon looking fantastic. They've got a great in the center of the circle. It's not compounds, which is actually might serve them better, to be honest, as we see a little few shots from T1 come out. They're on the very edge, taking shots over towards Buriram. Buriram is right over the top of DA. Yeah. Now, if DA decides that they want to get angsty with this and maybe go out and push, if they can figure out who it is that's above them, and they see a couple of knocks maybe come through, that could be DA trying to clear out the entire south side for themselves.
And they'd be wise to do so. Maybe wait for the circle to push in. I think what they're waiting for right now is the city to fall out. Like, they still have Code Marco and Smash looking towards the east. They're inside the circle. They have a compound. It's one of those you could imagine DA doing it because I don't want to say greedy because it's a smart decision, but they're one of the teams that would dare to go out and make a, to some, unnecessary play. But if it's a play that can grant you favors in the end of it, it might be worth the while. Vanotika gets the double. Once again, Meta and Molly's is a scary combo. That's their kryptonite, and down goes two, and I'm not seeing anyone get back on their feet.
They are exceedingly flammable. Okay, all right. They're gonna stay alive. Well, they still got two. Okay, they still got one up. As they're trying to find somewhere to go as they push into the day trade. Ragnar going to go down as well. I think that's Wicked, and Sparking's going to go down. Wicked's still up though. But yeah, I mean, you see the area that Damwon has to work with here. It's obviously it's not great, but it's they can work around it and kind of work the edges here. As we see the 1v1. Oh, what a pre-fire!
Yeah, great play. Great play from Vanotika, getting the angle. He knew, I mean, he was just clearing angles every split second, and he knew there was only one place he could be. Pre-fires around the corner, gets him down. Now GEX and Tianba, this north side fight, it's a fight for really decent position on the edge of the circle, and let's see Tianba. Nade's thrown forward, of course. You got to throw those 25 utilities before you actually start shooting one another. Let's see who's going to win that battle. Right now, the issue for GXs, though, they've caught themselves on a sandwich. Petrichor from behind, a lot of damage coming in. One down, two down. They are in trouble.
It just seems like the whole world can see them right now. I don't even know how many smokes are left on either of these teams as they're having to lay them down to avoid Petrichor, to avoid E36, to avoid detonation and multi-circle damage. Everybody can see this good stuff coming up from Leo. Oh my god, the transition, are you nuts? One bullet left in the chamber.
Len Shun, what a transfer as well. He was completely focused on the guy in the ruck, just pixel spots the guy in the smoke, takes him out, back to the guy on top. Mamo just took down all of Detonation Gaming White on his own. What in the universe is happening here? Force the teams out in the open, throw a sword in between the two people, and they will fight for it. And that's exactly what happened there. There was only one spot up for grabs, and here falls everyone. 6 kills for Tianba already. Yes, they do lose one. Minx falls down, but now they have a position to move further forward. Only issue is I don't think they have the vehicles they had before. They're in the blue now, and this could be could spell disaster for the rotation.
You got a long way to go. Multi-circle is looking over in that direction as well. Tixu going to pick off another one here as he finds Aqua 5 out in a bad spot. Look at that angle. That's filthy stuff coming out from Anson. They still have part of their compound in this next circle. So, you know, the whole Ents just finding a good compound, vibing away for the late game is working out perfectly for them here.
Yeah,
Is DA going to find a on this?
I mean, they're going to reach a point where they have to do something, right? I just think that it's... I don't see a reason for DA to leave, let alone the fact that if they start running uphill, they will get shot in the back as well. But once this fight between Brew and T1 escalates, I am anticipating DA to at least all be looking in this direction. I would not expect them to leave the combo. Let's see Dang Che over the top. Doesn't find one. Adder is going to be the one to get him down. Got me out. Plunges down in return.
I would love to see them at least send one. Just send one and see what happens, and see if you can maybe pick off some downs here, some knocks. Meanwhile, Tiamba, as he said, struggling, trying to get in that circle, and there goes T1 Buriram once again, stepping up big. As Tiamba trying to trade back and forth with Petrichor. It's down to Mamu, but we've already seen what Mamu can do. That is a dangerous, dangerous man. And there you go, DA comes up over the top, and they're gonna strike at the right time. Once again,
I don't know why I don't know why I ever doubted them. They should stay in the compound, he said.
Well,
it's
to be fair, they didn't need to. They didn't need to, but they would love to have that south side all to themselves. And if they could take care of Buriram, they could have that.
Yeah, when we're looking at leaderboards right now, they need points pretty damn desperately as well. I mean, one full day of, what is that, 7 points? That's... they know it, we know it, they need points, we know they're capable, and, well, I mean, if there was ever any doubt, which I don't think there was, DA, I know their mindset is we can and will win every single straight-up fight we take in this lobby. Like, they're just that confident. Oh, Summer, is that Nate good?
That was really good.
Just not good enough.
Oh, 20%. Let's just prone. Oh, no, he's going to burn him. And Mamu gets another 2. He's got 9 kills.
9 kills. He took out the entirety of Detonation Gaming wide, and from there, the onslaught started. He has more kills on his own than any other team has combined. Like, any other team has in total. 9 kills from Mamo this game. This is an absolute insane performance, and to be fair, I mean, with where he's sitting in the circle right now, it ain't over yet.
It sure isn't. And, you know, we were talking about it yesterday that one of the big things is you've got to have that superstar player that's going to step up in the right time and make superstar plays when you get down to these international lands. I mean, you could have all the great teamwork in the world, but every now and then you need that big time play from that big time player. Right now, Mamu is stepping up in a huge way.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive to see. Very rare that you get a solo player anywhere near double digits, and especially in this position where they've been fighting their way through the open for so long. The fact that he's still alive is actually rather impressive. 80 with the MK shooting over towards Ents. I wanted to see Ents try and clear out the south, maybe push down there and wipe them out and then push back around, but they've opted to go play the circle more than try and take out their south position. And I'm a little afraid for Ents that if they don't get to deal with Buriram fast enough, they might get sandwiched.
Oh, there you go. Edie going to get the opening knock there on the Diggory as well. And here comes the push from Buriram, Godmeow, and Naradra. They're going to have Edie giving them some oversight. DA does not look like they're getting involved in this either. So Buriram has all the time in the world to do this. And oh no, is it going to fall apart like this for Ents again?
Very well could. Let's see, Godmeow. Did he get eyes on? Oh, yep, he saw them. He saw them. Diggory's been seeing mollies thrown forward, at least in hand. Diggory's making a run for it. He wants to get healed up, of course, before he has to take any fights at all. Tix has been seen as well. It's just a matter of Squeaky playing around the rock. Do they know where he is? Yes, they do. Down goes one. Tix does find Edie in return, but this is not looking good for Ents. As I say that.
Diggory making something happen here, but it is down to a 1v1. Naradra versus Diggory. Nobody shooting Naradra in the back just yet, but you can see DA starting to creep over in this direction. Naradra can take care of Diggory here quickly before DA gets there. Otherwise, Diggory might get saved. Oh, there you go. And then immediately gets thrown.
that immediately after. But you know, that one placement point plus a kill point could be the difference maker in terms of you getting into the spot that you wanted to in the end of the day. So we'll see how that comes along. And of course, in the midst of all that, teams trying to fight for these silos now. It's down one key up. They've been blessed with a good position in the circle for a while. They don't have that many kills yet this game, though. Actually, make that 0. And of course, who's the one to get kills on the other side of it? It's double-digit Mamu. Does get 10. Will he find 11? No! Flash button from the side, but the damage been done already. Lots of kills coming in. Here comes Battlegrounds, and the vehicle around the side comes one as well. 3 teams fighting on top of one another now, and downfall 2 is just multi-circle gaming left on this side. Silos have been claimed.
I don't know what to say. I mean, once again, Down One just cannot win a 4v4 fight. They just cannot win. They always get third partied. Something always weird happens. And now DA trying to push on to day trade. They're expecting the grenades to come through, so they're going prone, try to take less damage, but Metralius has already gone down. They're starting to tick down a little bit too much. Eventually, they've got to push this and start taking some shots.
Talk about solo performances so far. We've seen Mambo now. Vanatico's been playing extremely well this game as well. Marco completely blinded out.
This is
trying
huge.
to get an off-angle position. Spots one, can't find the knock. This is not something you see Code Marco miss ever. Such a good player. Unfortunately, whiffs that one there. Mert trying to get healed on up. Trying to get the res up to Mithralis. In the meantime, Smash is the one to have to do all the damage. Bojuice falls down. Low HP on Smash, needs to heal, but he does have time. Mert just got back on his feet. He finds himself one. Will he get the second off? But Norrens is low, and Smash is going to be the one to find him as well. Flashes all the way in the back. Nothing he can do. He's caught in the open, and he falls down as well. DA, extremely well played. Ooh. Now they got eyes on Summer. That should be GG, but of course, can't call it too early.
Wow, that was very, very dicey for DA there for a couple of seconds. Yes. I was getting real nervous on that Code Marco. I was getting flashbacks of yesterday when Buriram clashed the compound and we saw Code Marco and Mert just completely fan on a shot. But they held strong. They made sure that they kept all 3 up. Code Marco made the nice push, and the rest of DA actually capitalizing on Code Marco's push. Even though Code Marco wasn't able to get the knock, they was still able to serve as a big enough distraction that the rest of DA could come up over the top and completely take the rest of Day Trade by surprise. So really, really well played by DA there in the end.
Yeah, I mean, you could write a full storyline of how it all kind of started out well, then shots were missed, and no, it's going so poor now, and then all of a sudden someone just came up, no, we will do this, and Smash got the first one, Nerd got in and got the second, and the hero music started, and they stayed alive. A lot happened in that fight, and I think if you're
emotional roller coaster,
for sure, you can just kind of tell off of how they were moving around, tilt, untilt, tilt, untilt, but they do manage to take out Day Trade in the end of it. And to be fair, I mean, we're kind of dragging this one out. If there's any universe where Summer, I want to say, even gets a flush here, it shouldn't happen. I mean, with this circle even more so, don't happen either. Does find one, no vest against 3.
Come on, Smash.
Yeah,
there you go.
Not gonna happen. Smash seals the deal. DA wins themselves a game, over doubling the points of the placements alone of what they were able to acquire the entire day yesterday. You can see Smash, the joy still ain't there. They're not happy with having to play these bottom games, but they're making their way back up, and I'm sure we'll see a lot more for them in week 2.
Yeah, you can tell how excited and happy they are with that win. they're losing it. They're beside themselves. But that was a really, really good win. And more importantly, I love to see the DA boys channeling their inner Taylor Swift, shaking it off, shaking the bad day off, shaking the rest of the other days off when they got so close but couldn't make it, and now coming in here and securing a big win when it is important, when it is absolutely necessary to get it.
Yeah, I mean, both them and ENCE and other teams too that are playing these bottom seed games had, to be fair, I mean, if you look at it from a super settings perspective, a really good day, a really good 2 days in the weekly survival games. They just couldn't wrap up those wins. So of course, having to play these bottom seed games is frustrating, but to be fair, both of them playing well. ENCE got a decent position in the end of this one, and a couple of kills to boot. Of course, DA starting off the day with the win is a great improvement from yesterday.
And all of that done on just a wheels-off circle that you're not really expecting to ever see. So, I mean, apparently we've had quite a few of those this weekend, these circles that nobody's really expecting. But I want to hear what the analyst desk has to say about this one. Boys, Digital Athletics, Game 1 winners. What do you got to say? Take it away.
Another day, another DA. One single game just instantly bags them more points than what they got all day yesterday. Phenomenal performance from Digital Athletics. I've got to say, Cammy, there were certain points during that fight, especially seeing Metralius go down and then Code Marco following afterwards. I did not see them winning that one out whatsoever.
Yeah, it was very, very hard, especially that Code Marco spray. I forget what member of Daytrade he was trying to take down, but that was so glad that he was able to that they were able to get the win after that anyway, though, because if they had lost because of that, he would have been kicking himself. But luckily, Smash does come up huge, and this isn't really much of a shock because we've seen Smash play some amazing clutch plays during the opening weekend, during the weekly survival. And even though he might not be the kill damage leader on the team in the overall event like Code Marco is, for my money, he is the player they want to rely on in a clutch situation, and he finally is able to deliver. They jump up quite a few placements after this one game because they were 16th coming into today.
And you talk about putting money on a certain player. For me, it's Mamu. Like, good lord. 10 frags, Clinton, in one game is absolutely phenomenal. Even though the team finished in 5th overall, like, to be able to drag them up 10 points single-handedly is just absurd.
And he's not just doing it, just like getting free kills, just farming like a crossroads where two teams have to, go through it or something. It's Petrichor Road controlling space up on the northwest. They're doing a good job taking fights, 2 teams, and then defending a push from Tianba as well to really open up all of that room for Mamu to he ends up being the last one alive up in that northwest corner. Then he pushes into the fight between Multi-Circle Gaming and Damwon Ki and almost picks up 11. He was so close, but Daytrade from afar takes him down. Just a huge performance from him, but Petrichor Road's going to need a lot more than just that if they want to get higher up in these standings.
So I've been told we only got a couple of minutes before we get the next game rocking and rolling. Obviously, we do have the finals continuing on after this, so we need all the players out, all the fresh ones in. Damwon Kia, Clinton, again, just to kind of wrap it up really quickly. Only 1 frag point, but certainly those, we were talking about in the back, those oil cylinders, they can be quite difficult to hold down. It probably gets to a point when everyone else starts to move in, everyone starts shooting from the sideline, 360 vision becomes extremely difficult. For me, though, Daytrade, to see them up there and still continuing the fight, Clinton, was pretty damn good towards the latter stages.
Yeah, they're making good movements up on the top. They're controlling space. They're recognizing when Detonation Gaming White wraps up to the north of the circle. They recognize there's an area in between 2 hills that's open that they can effectively, safely hide in while everybody's fighting around them. They control that territory. They get, like you, I think it was you, Rich, who mentioned it while we were watching, Poochills up on the hill doing cover. While he doesn't get any kills, he's providing a lot of important cover fire for the team to really buy them that time and space they need. And frankly, they should have won that fight against DA. They had the opportunity. They just weren't able to capitalize on it. And for Daytrade, I think, the ideas are there. They're just not quite executing as fully as they'd probably like to.
Second place finish for MCG, Cammy. Now sees them in 5th position. Things are starting to look good. And to be fair, another couple of games, honestly, from bottom of 30 seconds coming into this, they could be up at the top with the rest of them.
They're definitely looking a lot better than, well, we didn't see them during the week, but last weekend where they got that 32nd position. But they got, despite the 2nd place here and the 1st place we saw in the first Erangel yesterday, they've also nabbed themselves a 7th, a 10th, and a 15th. So the inconsistency is still there, which we've said this before, but for a team that was supposed to be one of the top dogs from not just their own individual region, but this event as a whole, they still haven't really fully blossomed, fully bloomed into the team that we were hoping to see. Hopefully we'll get that by the end of this week. At this point, I'll be surprised if they end up in last place. I don't even think that that's mathematically possible. And so now we're going to start to see them again in the weekly survival. We can then see their development from there. They are definitely looking better than they were last weekend. I just hope that it doesn't stop here.
I'm gonna say it as it is, gents. Like, Lin Shun, that spray transfer,
So good.
Like, there's a couple of nuances, a couple of like little micro moments within PUBG, and for me, this is what makes it so exciting. Like, certainly bolt action shots from distance, but spray transfers. Doing something like he did, just the 1-2, it was the guy flicking on the rock. Like, he's up on the rock. How can you just flick to that and take them both down in a 2 versus 1? PUBG is one of these games where you shouldn't be winning outgunned fights like that. It was just absolutely disgusting. And even though it's only 2 kills for me, that is just a world-class performance to be able to flick like that and get the shot off. I mean, again, it's only 2 frags in the bag, but still in the bigger picture, it was such a damn good kill. I'm sure Reddit will be putting it up there if you want to go watch it or just watch the VOD back. Honestly, it was disgusting. We are getting ready in the back for game number 2, so I want to thank you all for bearing with us. Again, it's going to be a quick turnaround, quick one, because we've got the finals kicking off after this. Want to get the players in, want to get everything sanitized, everything rock and roll, and everything good to go in the back. And of course, you want to get to Erangel, want to see how things blossom, because so far these circles have been insanity. I mean, we didn't even speak about that last circle all the way to the north. I don't think in competitive I've had the pleasure of seeing, let alone cast, anything that far north. There's barely any land, but you know what? DA somehow make it work. The question is, can they continue the fight back? Can they continue the climb? For now, things are starting to get better. They're avoiding the 30-second spot. We're going to throw it over to Borosaurus and Toby to break down game number 2.
Thank you so much, Sims. And yeah, I mean, game number 1 all the way to the North Pole. It was a interesting way to start. Then got to give credit to the teams that, I mean, Tiamba already out of the plane now. Some teams had very far to go, and surprisingly enough, some of the teams that had far to go were the teams to actually end up in a pretty decent position.
Yeah, no, I mean that I mean, what do you even say when something cuts that far north, especially on a plane that was basically like this? I mean, it was a south to north plane,
yeah.
So a large percentage of the teams had to make those long rotations around, and the fact that we were playing in such a wide open area from Circle 3 on, I mean, that was a tough game, a very tough game.
It's just yet another sentiment, yet another reminder that even though there are areas of the map where you go, nah, it's not too important that we look at this because the games never end here. Just look at them because the games will end there. At some point, the games will go there. And also, did I just see Van? What? Okay, so GX has a AFK player. I don't know what happened there, but we do still have T1 chilling down towards the south, getting looted on up. Starlord is here, Meta here as well. But I mean, to be fair, I've seen 4. Now, actually, I've seen 5 teams loot Los Leones before, where none of them started fighting. So I'm not expecting to see anything here either. Circle is north, pretty straightforward. Break this one down for me, Paul, will you?
Well, E36 finish looting quickly, send it to the compound just south of water treatment. Hold. Hold for your life.
Hold.
This is looking like one of those water treatment circles. I don't know why. It just feels like it.
Yeah, or south side
like
compounds. I mean, or just a pure boy. I mean, with the compound that he's in right now, and those like straight north of San Martin compounds have. I don't know how those magnets work. But they do have a little more of a magnetic pull in those compounds than other areas of the map do for reasons. NBK getting looted. I'm just gonna say I'm blessed to get to cast NBK. It's not the same NBK, but just getting to cast NBK. That's pretty good. It's fun.
It's a NBK.
It's a NBK. Yeah, it's.
Our Gex solo player, Salim, seems like he
I don't know.
Found out, unfortunately. But yeah, that was weird. We've been seeing the Gex DXG hot drop on Mono Nuevo the entire time, and neither one of them decided to go to it this time. And I feel like it was within range.
Yeah, it would have been a stretch. I think both of them opted to go commit. Oh, please make Sims proud. No,
we've seen CC.
He tried 5 times.
He was hitting some disgusting arm shots yesterday. I mean, he absolutely bodied Edie from Buriram that was snaking in the grass, had him dead to rights. CC just turns flips on him like it was no big deal whatsoever. It was absolutely disgusting. But what is DXG doing? What is the plan here?
I think this is it's 2 people sprinting next to each other, and instead of both of them trying to reach the goal, which is in this case Montenuevo, they're both so focused on making sure the other team doesn't get across the goal line that they forget kind of what the purpose is in the end of it. But now, okay, 1 kill did come in, shots fired in the air for ultimate masculinity, and now they can go loot.
I wonder if
works.
Gex management is going to go cry and say that DXG should be docked points.
And now they're popping tires too.
Yeah. Do it. Do it. Take it all. Take it all. Make life a living hell for them, DXG. It's what they deserve. It's what we
Yeah, I
have.
mean,
It's what PUBG is all about, man.
yeah, I mean, to be fair, if had this been just a one-off type tournament, you go, why bother? But these guys are gonna be fighting side by side for the next 2 months. I mean, if you wanna put some fear into the enemy, if you wanna make them think twice about trying to contest you, might as well make a statement early on in the tournament and get going from there.
I feel like that's going to be a thing that we start seeing develop over the course of this, is statements being made and then responded to. I mean, I'm sure we'll see at some point. I'm sure we'll see FaZe try to do something to STK as vengeance. I'm sure that'll happen at some point.
So
And it's we'll see if 4 a.m. and DA go back at it again. Now you got Gex and DXG. I mean, there's so many storylines that I cannot wait to see them, how they develop and mature over the next 2 months. It's going to be awesome.
It's trying to read like 6 novels at once. You kind of combine all the stories with one another. It becomes too complicated at one point. Let's see T1 meta. They both left the city, and it seems to me like Danger kind of just, it was the enemies. He was just expecting Adder to be the one there, but now he does spot them as well. Doesn't want to start shooting. Just get the info, see where they're going. Oh, as I say, that does actually start shooting, but they're far and away.
Oh, again?
They need revenge. Zenith are here once more.
Zenith, the Revengeancer. This time, at least, okay, now that you see JN starting to come in, so LG Divine will have some support. I'm not sure Nikki is still a little bit far away, so if Zenith, but Zenith kind of stalled out on this push here a little bit. Actually, they're bailing. Yeah, just get out of there. Just get out of there. We learned our lesson last time. No point.
I'm loving the fact that you're playing it quiet,
not
though.
good enough. No, for sure.
It's a good position, but I respect and love the fact that they didn't overcommit to it.
Oh, this is always a fun thing to watch, isn't it? Can you get your motorcycle perfectly placed? And now Gray, oh no. Now Gray is just going to sneak up and just rip him with the AK. Oh.
That's what you get for not parking your bike right, meow. That's what you get. It's simple as that. That's the penalty for not knowing how to park a bike. It feels bad, man. But it's unfortunate. But it happens. You can't get too tunneled. And that's I think yet another lesson to be learned in this. Let's hold that thought for a second though, because Edie, I mean, seen it go from let's not pull up on that compound to now pulling up on another compound. Roth, he has no clue, does he? Does he have a clue? He's leaving, so maybe he does have a clue.
Why drive that close?
Yeah, that was terrifying. Close.
There's so many different angles you could take onto that, but you're just like driving literally right next to the, like you're begging somebody to shoot you in the face. Like that is. That's dangerous scouting on the part of Rod.
It's he's a thrill seeker. You gotta respect that. He's looking. He feels more comfortable when bullets are flying, and I guess he was asking for it. But kudos to, and to be fair, kudos to Edie for holding his fire there. Because had he started shooting, that would have been a good chance that even if you got the first one, that Zenith would have pulled up on it. So they didn't. They lived to see another day, and so far we've only lost 3. But wait, what did Indigo just do with his vehicle? Did it just do a flip up the wall?
Absolutely nothing. It's just right back to where it was. Nobody saw anything.
It's a feature.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's got 16 switches on that US or the Bronco. I don't know.
It's one of those now that we got, you can do tricks on the dirt bikes. The Bronco was feeling left out. So if you drive a bunker into a wall, you can start doing backflips. It's just one of those things,
Exactly. It's a South Central LA Bronco. It's got hydraulics on it and everything. It's gonna be you'd love it.
Soon PUBG Corp are gonna partner up with X Games, and then we'll get all the cool tricks in there. So imagine having to loot, but you don't want to run, so just take the scooter, and then you can scoot across the city while looting.
We get like a hoverboard, like Just Cause 4. Like that would be kind of cool. Yeah. Some grappling hooks.
Added and credit Poro. I'm all for it. As long as it doesn't make its way to competitive. That's my mentality. Like whenever we hear about helicopters and Panzerfausts and all that stuff, I'm all for it. Add it as much as you want. Add it to the big sandbox that is PUBG. But think twice before putting it into competitive, because we like where it's at right now. We're in a pretty good spot in competitive right now. Oh, you want Panzerfausts in competitive? Is that what it is?
Absolutely. Give me all the things. I want to see how these guys can use C4 to breach compounds. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
I want to see like
BRDMs.
I would absolutely. Yes. Well, okay, the BRDM's a little bit much, but
I mean, you asked for it. If you want it all, you're gonna get it all.
Okay, I guess if it's all or nothing, then I guess we'll keep it as competitive as possible here.
Well, let's see. Circle. I did say Pure Boy's compound was magnetic
Yeah.
field, and seems to me like it's going in that direction, at least for now. If you're E36, that's for sure you want to get going. You said commit to a compound early. They opted split three-way. I actually kind of enjoy or like seeing the fact that they're there. Yeah, for sure. And even more so, I like seeing them be immediately in their cast when they see where the circle goes, not have to think about where they're going to go. Speaking of where they're going to go, Meta has committed to compound, and they'll find Pyro in here.
Committed with air quotes around it. They've got 2 here. The rest of the boys aren't even up here. Yeah, okay, Sparking is going to come and join now, but you still got Ragnar miles away. As Pyro, they've got 3 up, 1 anchor from far, and Canaxi, oh no. Buriram's here too, aren't they?
They are down towards the south. They sit Silson looking over the top, and that's essentially their kind of the supply line from the south getting cut off before they even started fighting. I think Meta would be smart in just leaving here, but I think it's unfortunately too late for them. Gray is all the way up close, spots one. Gray finds the first. Silson falls immediately after, and Meta slaughtered in seconds. Just 1 left alive now, and I'm not sure you can really get away from here. Ragnar trying to make the run forward. Where do you go from here, buddy? Go back to where you came from, maybe over towards the east, and he's just gonna sit there and hope for 16 hard shifts in that direction. Oh, never mind, he's dead.
Nope. He's gonna get popped in the head. Man, this has just been Meta's. They just cannot catch a break on early rotations, man. It is just. It doesn't matter. It seems like it doesn't matter what they do. If they send 2 or send 4, it's just they're either losing the fight straight up or they're getting third partied at the wrong time. It's just been a bad luck all around for Meta on their early game rotations.
I would like to hear from Meta. I have a chat with them in this regard. I'm gonna have to remind myself to reach out to them in that regard. But I want to hear, because they strike me, and from what I've seen in the tournaments in the past, they strike me as a team that settle in time. And with these constantly changing lobbies, I think they're one similar to what we've seen, to be fair, with FaZe Clan, a team that's more confident or comfortable playing the same teams a little longer. It's difficult when you're constantly swapping out lobbies, and you can never really anticipate where these teams gonna be. You're playing every game as if it's a completely new set, and it's difficult for them.
And I agree to an extent. That to me, just looking at what their issues they're having, it's a scouting problem. It's a scouting issue.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know if it's just not taking the time, or maybe they just need to go and revisit how they do their scouting, how the time that they take before trying to push onto something. It seems like it would be a relatively easy fix as far as the scouting goes. You just have to be a little bit more patient. That's all.
Exactly, and that kind of goes in line with what I was saying in terms of them being used to playing the same teams. When you're playing the same teams over and over and over again, you don't have to scout as much, because you kind of know, okay, shots fired from over there. We know it's that team. They like to split like this. And then you kind of sort of anticipate things going in the way that you have prepped for them, or the way that they usually go. But when it's this, when we saw it with Liquid in the beginning, they were pulling up in areas where they got killed early. It was like, wait, what? There are teams here? And now they're not doing it, and they're having more success. So see, Circle, surprise, centers on Divine, maintaining their two-way split for now. That's, to be fair, to me at least, a little scary. I thought they were gonna at least leave, like just do the hard, the heads or tails, and commit to one of them. But they're maintaining this two-way split, at least for now.
You know, I'm okay with it But I'm okay with it because I have the eye in the sky, right? There's only 2 teams off to their
Exactly.
south, really, but they don't know that.
True.
So, I mean, unless they've been doing some just serious scouting and they have a good idea, okay, there's a team in Hacienda, there's a team maybe in San Martin. We're not likely to get pushed by the Gex compound. I mean, that's a 2-2 that I think you can probably hold fairly late, especially when majority of the lobby is kind of hanging out to that north side. We'll see.
True.
We'll see what they
True.
decide.
Indeed, we will. Petrico, shots fired towards Dam 1, a team that, I mean, came right off the bat in the ranking games and completely surprised me with how well they were playing. Mamo, well, why finish with 10 kills in the last game where you can continue in the next one? Naratra falls, shouldn't be a rest possible. As I say that, Canaxi does throw a smoke up in that direction, but seems to me like Petrico are committed to at least getting the flush onto Naratra. Whether they're going to take the fight further from there, I'm not sure. Shinboy from the side is going to be able to steal himself one. And now DXG pushing up towards Tianba.
And they're going to take their time with this one here. This is a tough compound to push for sure. They've got Fergus at range, kind of giving them some support. But you also got Linshin that's just behind them as well. Doesn't have an angle onto this, I don't think. Does he? He might actually have an angle onto that. Okay, yeah, that's a real hard push right there if you're DXG. I don't have any problem with them pulling away from that.
Oh no, not at all. Quite the contrary, actually. I mean, the fact that they go, you know what, we didn't see what we wanted, they didn't show their hand, we're gonna back off. I think that is a very wise play on their part, and something other teams would have a hard time doing. Knowing when to disengage. I mean, disengaging can oftentimes be much better for you than taking a fight head on, especially if you're running into it without really knowing what you're up against. And them saying, you know what, we didn't see what we wanted, let's back out and take the fight later. I think that's a very wise decision for DXG.
That compound wouldn't be that great anyway.
Exactly.
I mean, it's still chilling on the very edge of the circle. Now they got to worry about a little bit of an ends problem, right, though. But we'll see what Petrichor decides to do as they push down through water treatment. Detonation Gaming White got a nice little setup here, but this is always a funky place to fight around, as you see, and Petrichor going for a nice little split. Here's what I was talking about, Diggory. This could be a big fight here for Ents if they can get everybody over here in time. Oh, that's shift again. I mean, we knew it. You called it. Exactly where it was going to go.
Yeah, we kind of did, didn't we? That's it was the obvious one. Let's see. Gray falls. That's elsewhere on the map. DXG now trying to hold off. They know that Ents are around. They heard shots fired early. It's only Diggory for now, though, so the full commitment isn't here from Ents. They know that if they were to overpeak this position, they would start to get shot at by Tianba as well. So once again, smart disengage. This time around, it's Ents backing off, saying we didn't get what we wanted. Let's just back off. And now, this day trade and DA fight's been going on for a while. A little bit of revenge attempt maybe from last game. Vanatika, though, does find Code Marco this time around. So one down for DA as the fight continues.
I like what DA's doing there. I mean, Code Marco obviously going down isn't ideal, but the rest of the boys doing kind of a spread coming out from San Martin, pulling from different directions, so maybe might be able to catch them off guard with a few well-placed throwables. Meanwhile, Ents, as we said, had to make a move somewhere, and they managed to find a little small dip right in the middle of the circle, and they get all 4 of them there. Unreal.
So they wanted to prone. I guess that's what they're going to be doing for the next 10 minutes of this game.
Oh!
Malofo, there's your bold action shot. We didn't get to see it from POV, but does get taken down from actually quite a distance. That's decent shot from the other side of water treatment, and they'll be satisfied with it. Well, actually, it wasn't that far. I was right there. Okay, I thought it was further away. I thought it was the one on the west side.
Just get so excited to see a bolty.
Still bold action. Still a bold action. We gotta compliment the few people that still use them, you know. But this fight should be coming to an end soon. Blue is forcing it to push forward, and you can see him in Detonation Gaming White are just playing spoiler here. They're just waiting outside, waiting for them to leave, and this is where we need the quick reactions here.
They're not even gonna make it to those smokes.
You say that.
I mean, they had C's. Yeah, they had C's and Moloko looking down that line. There was no way they made it. All right, well, DA, Petralia's got up here to a nice spot, but Venotica with the perfect nade as DA just collapse right on top of each other again. Man, that seems like I've seen more DA players go down to one nade than any other team. It seems like
that's the man. I guess I can explain to you why. I mean, it doesn't require a whole lot of explanation. It's just DA are a very close committed team. They want to be able to trade the kills, and they want to be able to push fights together, and that's why, I mean, they pretty much run as some like to say they run as a unit. They make their way up together, then once they get there, they split. So which means if you can catch them, like before they get to split out, of course, those nades are going to be even more lethal than they were before. Speaking of lethal nades, that one straight in the face, down goes Lin Shun. And, well, I mean, Jianba are in trouble, and you can see it right here. DXG opted not to take a fight in a bad position. Now they got to wrap underneath Jianba, and they're the gatekeepers on them. This right here is a perfect example of why disengaging can work out better. They did that, they wrapped around, and they now have the winning position against Jianba, who were the team in the compound they were pushing before.
Absolutely. They only have to worry about, well, Ming's is just going to go down to blue most likely here. Yep. Oh no, he gets the heal off, and he actually wants this still. Gotta give him credit. Ming's trying to see if he can maybe sneak a kill off of this, but yeah, that'll do it.
Down goes Tianba, and I like the way that the desk kind of put thought to it prior to the game starting. Tianba, a team that we just haven't seen a whole lot from in this tournament so far. Yes, they had themselves, I believe, one really good win in the ranking decision games, but that's really been it. What we've seen them shine. They don't have that powerhouse up close fighting power that we've seen from them before. Now let's hold that thought for a second, because more teams are pulling up. This time around, it's Damwon making their way up towards LG Divine.
Okay, Damwon. Bring something to the table, please. We need it. We want it. We've been begging for it. Let's see what does a nasty little angle from Turtle, but they read him like a book though. Under, such a smart player.
Solid headshot coming in to initiate the fight. Fortunate for Turtle, couldn't connect the shot because of the railing in the window there. GX will fall. Global Esports exit will go out in 11th to the hand of MCG. And now Long K comes to say hello to Sis, but he is going to fall as well. Couldn't quite get out of the car in time. Down he goes. And E36 on the hillside, we have a prime position to get some free kills here.
Yeah, this is where E36 needs to be on the roam here, trying to pick off whatever they can find down here. It's all just solos and duos. They've already spotted out IQ 500. They've got a pretty good idea where C's is. They've got Zenith kind of split. Zenith has 2 up high and 2 down in the gas station. They've kind of sneakily made it to this late game. Yep. Well, there you go. It's a matter of time.
Yeah. He crawled even closer to it. He's like, if I'm going to die, I might as well just go down to this explosion. I don't want to bleed out. I want to die quickly. Admitting defeat. If I'm going to get killed, you might as well just give me a bullet to the head, you know? That's how it is. Sean Yang, now here comes the push. Kia, one building at a time. And this is what I was talking about, pushing as a unit. It looks like something out of a SWAT breach documentary. Let's see if they're going to succeed. They cleared the first building, but unfortunately for them, there were no opponents to be found. But now, Sean Yang finds one with the nade. Kia and Kale both get 2 as well. And things are looking grim for Divine very, very quickly.
That was really nicely done there. They do have under knocked, but they should be able to get the res on him. They have to worry about Turtle, though. They're not going for the res. This is something you see for Korea teams. They will not go for that res until they are 100% sure that they've cleared their compound. You see Zenith. As we said, they were still holding it. Oh, no. This flank from T1 is going to be disgusting.
They have no clue. They have no clue. Kickstart jumps even. Caught by surprise there. Aqua 5 takes him down, and now... I mean, Zenith, they bit off more they could chew. They want to take the fight to the hillside. They want to take the fight to the compound. And Ruth, actually, the one inside the gas station, couldn't get eyes on, and he's completely called off out of position here.
The throwables are coming out right now, and going to take a lot of damage there. But Roth might have a shot onto Aqua 5 here. Lands 1. Probably wishes he could have had a few more of those back. Meanwhile, Damwon still pushing in, and look at that. They were not able to clear Turtle, and now Turtle is striking them in the back. That's a grenade right on top of them. Run away! I think Indigo was screaming, get the hell out of here. There's a grenade on me.
Down he goes. Not a whole lot more to be done. Divine. It's just one player left alive, but Turtle is doing everything but turtling. He is full on committed to get as many points in for Divine as possible before he will inevitably go down. Blue should be the death of him. As I say that, it's actually gonna be Ling Du, but he will fall in the end. Divine does as well, though. Sorry, Down One does as well. And look at this. Ends. They committed early to a position where they couldn't do a lot from, but they knew if we just survive here long enough, we will be the center of attention. And now is when they can start shooting at everyone.
You got to give credit to Multi-Circle Gaming. That was a hell of a wrap down on that south side. Come and take care of, to put themselves in a position really to just feast on Dom Juan once they left that compound. That's exactly what they did. Perfectly played. And now they have 4 up from the bottom side of the circle. T1, it looks like, has pulled off of their fight with Zenith. Roth somehow managed to get over onto the cliff side. It looks like E36 has now stopped paying attention to the north, and all eyes are focused to the south now.
It's going to be a hard push forward, as you can see here, for MCG. Once they peek over the top, it's not only the team they're trying to fight that's going to be shooting at them, it's practically everyone. Detonation Gaming White will fall 6th place for them. 5 kills were accumulated. Those are a few points coming their way. First shot and missed. Okay, I thought that one looked pretty on point, but Punic couldn't hit the headshot when he had to. Won't be able to find the knock there, and they need to find a way to approach this circle. There are 2 crates over towards Zenith, or towards the Roth, I should say, on the north side, but I'm not sure that's where the focus is right now.
Yeah, I mean, given where it is, though, the position of the crate, not the crate itself and the contents, but the position of the crate. Oh, even now, that could actually be huge. That gives Roth a little bit of cover, and Zenith a little bit of cover if they decide that they want to play from that ridge line. They have a little bit of ridge line still left to play, but right now, obviously, the big problem that they've got to deal with is T1.
Yeah, and it depends on how T1 is planning on playing this one, because if they opt to wrap East around, which I want to say that it's the play, I mean, to be fair, it's the only play for them. Wrap East around and try and take control. If you go center like we're seeing Aqua 5 do right now, they're putting themselves in a complete sandwich between the 2 teams. And I think even though this might seem like the more comfortable place to be right now, 35 seconds from now, it's probably going to be the death of Aqua 5.
Let's see. Oh my God, Roth getting picked out by Sato there. As we see, E36 has once again paid attention down to this southern part. They haven't got the flush on them. It looks like Zenith might actually be able to get this res as well, which would be absolutely huge. If they can keep 3 up, they can keep themselves in this game. Aqua 5 tried to make that push to get into Throwables range of Ents, and he just got absolutely destroyed. So you pretty much called it. Aqua 5 goes down early.
Yeah, and we haven't even brought Zenith into this fight yet. They're still focused on E36 on the northwest side. So once they start looking over the top here too, it's going to be even more difficult for them to really do anything. But I guess, I mean, to some extent, both T1 and ENCE find themselves in a similar position because they're both trapped in between 2 teams. ENCE has, as you can see here, Multi-Circle Gaming on the other side. And MCG, I mean, to be fair, they're claiming space all the time. They're moving forward constantly, trying to get into distance of where they can get those nades down. You see the mollies are getting real terrifyingly close now, and one nade in there could really blow up all of it. Oh, a little too far, but if you can range one in between those cars, that is an entire end wipe.
This is danger. I don't even know how many grenades they have. They got one there, Tank. We'll find Squeaky. That might be the go sign if they've got any more. It looks like they're running low on utility at this point, but Aqua 5 looks like he wants some more. He's going to come up over the top, take shots over at MCG. Not going to spot out the ENCE boys, and that is going to give Rustamar the chance to get the knock before he gets traded out. And it is just all hitting the fan right now, Toby.
Yep, and look who's come to join the fight too. Zenith over the top now. They heard the commotion on the south side and they want a piece of the action. E36 didn't budge. They didn't look out when Zenith wanted them to, and now they take the fight down south side. And this is exactly why I was saying T1 would potentially find themselves in a tough spot in ENCE. I mean, I said they were playing a position to prone. That's all Diggory can really do here, because right now there are 4 different teams looking his way.
And you know, it's arguable that E36 maybe could have played this a little bit better and tried to come over here and at least put themselves in a position where they could third party this. I know that you can get on the roofs of those compounds, and I have not seen a single player for E36 playing that high spot to try to get an angle there. I mean, you can see is Satu on the, I don't know if he's on the roof or if he's in the compound itself, but I was just looking over there earlier. Every time I kept looking to see if they were going to be on the roofs, trying to take these shots over, and I just never saw them. But here we go.
Like Starlord holding his fire here is a smart decision, in my opinion. Tried to wait for it. Unfortunately, he waited a bit too long there. I wanted to see him try and wait for multi-circle games to have to push towards ends, but in return, he's going to be the one being found in the end of it. Now, Tank straight back down on the belly. He goes, climbs further forward, or tries to at least, crawl his way towards the circle. There's still a ways to go, but he might be able to get up on the side of ends and should be out of reach for E36 as well.
Problem for Tank is he's not inside the circle yet, and he's got a lot of eyes looking over in that direction. Shimboy going to be the first one. Take a few shots. A few will land. Not enough landing, unfortunately. There you go.
There you go.
Okay. Tank tried to do a little shimmy shake and avoid it, but it was not to be. But Ents keeping 2 up. Having 2 up still after that push is that's about the best Ents could hope for right there.
Yeah. And now is when Interforce, they've really, I mean, you have the, well, that's interesting. You have the numbers. You have a good chance to push out, and I'm surprised to see Zenith push the compound right now the way they are. Because I was going to say they're going to funnel themselves, like they're going to get sheep herded into the slaughterhouse, and that just happened. Pure Boy, great angle, gets all 3 of them down. They go, and Entry Force 36 have to push out and take charge now. The Japanese teams usually played a little more passive, but this is their chance to go out and really assert dominance on the remaining 2 players.
And that is 100% what they've got in mind. They're going to find Rustin Mar as well, and it's all down to Adder. So oh, what a play. E36 coming out at the right time. I was saying that they maybe could have gone out there a little bit earlier, but you know what? At the end, they still get 8 kills. They get the win, and that's all that really matters. You got your 18 points.
I want to say, though, from from just the top division to where we are right now, they cannot wait that long. And you hit the nail there on that one. Burrow, they had to push out earlier. They had Zenith not, I want to say gotten greedy, but had they been a little more like holding back, I don't see a universe where E36 could have gotten out of that compound alive. Had they pushed out earlier, tried to take more control, maybe on the Haypels towards the east, I think they would have been better off. But they do manage to get the win regardless. So great game for the Japanese team in E36 to wrap up the win there.
Absolutely. Maybe it might have been a Zenith thing. Maybe they were just not able to take care of Zenith as quickly as they would have liked to, and Zenith was just being a problem and a hassle. They know, if you're E36, if you try to push down to the south there into that open field, Zenith is right there. They're just going to backfill right behind you and take you out from behind. So, maybe that was going through E36's mind. Once they take care of Zenith, it immediately opens up. They know that they're clear. They can push out and everything. So, really well played by them. But I want to hear what the analyst desk has to say about it. Are we going to throw it to him yet, or are we going to talk for a little bit? I don't know. What do you want? You want to have a final thought?
I just think overall it was a fun end game. I wanted to see, as I said, Zenith maybe do a bit more of a push in that one, but great game overall, and I think a lot could be taken away from this one for sure.
Nah, for sure. And well played by all of our late game teams, and well called by us. We saw that coming, that circle, exactly where the end game was right off the bat. But guys, let's see what the analyst desk has to say about this one. 2 games down, 2 more to go. Who is lining up to find themselves in a right place in the top 16, bottom 16? I don't know. Let's see what they have to say.
Yeah, we'll have a look at it. It's not a problem, Matt. We'll have a quick look. DA, bottom of the charts, bump. Get a win, Cammy. And all of a sudden, we see the same again. E36, bottom of the charts, get a win. No, it's as if nobody wants to finish in 32nd for a week.
Yeah, you know what? There might be something to that. I don't know. On one hand, you get a full week off, so maybe vacation is valuable to some of these players. But no, they're here to actually compete and actually win. Who would have thought? And it is going to be Enter Force 36 coming out on top. We have seen how powerful that compound that they found themselves in. Nice. The Plateau Farmhouse overlooks so much. Zenith, I saw at the end, did give them a little bit of run for the money, and unsurprisingly, we actually have Shimboy sharing the top of the kills with Pure Boy, because that actually was a really solid run by Zenith, but E36 able to secure it all in the end, getting themselves 18 points. But there was a lot of back and forth the teams around the outskirts. You saw some T1, you saw some Day Trade, and of course MCG. All of these players deserve to be in the top 5 of kills and or damages where they might lie.
And I've got to say, it kind of backs up a little bit what you mentioned before, Clinton. Like for E36, when we're getting to that point where it is dire straits, where you're not necessarily close combat, but back and forth with a lot of teams very close together, they seem to excel in these scenarios.
Yeah, they're really good at defense. This is something that the Japanese teams do excel at. If you're going to count anything, it's their ability to play defense.
Well, as you can see, we are getting the game set up, so we're going to take a very short break. When we return, we'll kind of break it all down a little bit more. These games need to go fast, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you guys in just a second.
Athletes are always challenging themselves to get better. You've seen this in all sports. Esports is no exception. You can never predict the outcome. The only thing you can control is how ready you are. Over and over, players adapt, trying to improve, fighting hard for every percent gained. Give everything you've got to the challenge and show your finest. Bring your best out. Strive for perfection. It's our goal, too.
Hello PUBG Esports fans. The PUBG Global Invitational.S, our biggest tournament yet, begins in February. With a tournament this big, there's a lot to take in. So let's take a look at the format and rules of PGI.S 2021. PGI.S's main event, the weekly series, will be held for a total of 6 weeks starting from February 8th. It is divided into the weekly survival taking place on weekdays and the weekly final held over the weekend. Unlike the previous global tournaments, points are not accumulated week over week, giving every team the same fighting chance each week. Weekly Survival features 16 matches held across 3 weekdays. The goal for teams is simple: win a single chicken dinner. Once you win, you stop playing and move on to the weekly final. The next team on the waitlist takes your place and a new match begins. This list is determined by ranked decision matches to decide the order our 32 teams participate. These 24 deciding matches take place over 3 days starting from February 5th and will divide our teams into 4 different groups. The top 16 teams from these groups face off in the weekly survival matches first. The weekly final is more like the PUBG Esports you're used to. 10 matches are held across 2 days, and points the teams earn are added up to decide their final ranking for the week. The 16 teams that played in the weekly final get the first shot at next week's weekly survival, and the remaining 16 teams decide their placement on the waitlist during a bottom 16 match held every Saturday, before the weekly final. From there, the cycle continues throughout the tournament. One of the big differences with PGI.S is that instead of receiving prize money based on your final rank is determined by how much prize money you've won. We're awarding prize money every week, and the team who has collected the most at the end will be crowned our PGI.S champion. Here's how it breaks down. The first 8 teams to win a weekly survival match each week take home an automatic cash prize, earning more the sooner they win. From there, the winners of the weekly finals tournament get an even bigger cash prize. The first place prize being $25,000 on week 1, and growing to an astounding $500,000 by week 6, giving teams lots of opportunity to catch up and claim the title. Winning isn't the only way teams are earning cash though. 30% of the total profit made from PGI.S item sales goes back to participating teams. This money will be distributed based on the percentage of money each team won in the tournament, with bigger rewards for the higher performing teams. So, not only do you get cool skins and voting coupons to earn even more cool skins, but you're also helping your favorite teams bring home more well-deserved prize money. Win-win! That about wraps up our overview of the PUBG Global Invitational.S. Initial ranking decisions happen on February 5th, and the first official matches kick off on February 8th. So be sure to tune in, pick your winners, and cheer on your favorite teams across 8 weeks of intense PUBG action.
2 more games left. Stand with it between these teams and potentially going into the next week as 7-team seed. Remember that this is all about getting yourself in a position that can put you and capitalize on what happens when the chicken dinners do come forward next week throughout the weekly survival. I'm Sims. This is Mr. Pip, Thin, and Cammy D. Gents, we've got 2 more games left, and let's kind of touch on what's going to happen throughout these next 2 matches of Erangel. I would say it's tough at the top, but honestly, when we look at this scoreline, Clinton, it seems to be tough at the bottom, and everyone's just trying to avoid 32nd. Like, we're getting these teams that have the 32nd seed, and all of a sudden, they get a win.
Yeah, it's really important here for E36 and T1 to do well in those last 2 matches, and I think both teams are kind of, a little sad that it's them that they're going up against because they're at the bottom, them and Meta as well. Meta just can't seem to find any kind of rotational success. They keep just running into buzzsaw after buzzsaw, whether it be getting caught in transition or just running into a compound and getting shut down. But for E36 and T1, I really liked what I saw at T1 that game because they made an adjustment where they came together and fought as a group for the majority of that game. They didn't try to maintain a weird wide split where people aren't able to cover each other, where people are getting caught out. In this one, they're able to work together. You can even see after Aqua 5 pushes up into that dangerous position, as Toby mentioned, he gets knocked one time. They're able to get to him and get the res and get it back up on his feet. And that's a big part of why they're able to get to second place in that one. They're able to cover each other and work together.
Which is kind of scary when you look at this, Cammy. Like, T1 only jumping up 1 place into 14th off of what you could say is a pretty damn decent game. I mean, a second position and 6 frags to boot, and it's only jumped them into 14th. That speaks bigger volumes about the difficulties T1 are having.
It's weird because, yeah, it's difficulties on their end, especially in contrast to what we saw in the previous week. But more so than that, it's sort of just the weird fluctuating balance of this current lobby that we're seeing. If you look at all the games and who got first, second, third, etc. win, it's all over the place. Usually it seems a little more stacked at the top, but we have some teams who have medals, like 5 of them close towards the bottom. It is a very, very close lobby all the way down.
So we've got about 5 minutes time before we move into our final 2 games, and after that we'll be getting ready, locked and loaded. We'll bring in all the players in for the weekly finals. I mean, that in itself is going to be just hell in a cell. Who'll be taking on the first $25,000. Cammy, I'm kind of going to fall back to you yourself. We tried to speak about Zenith in the pre-game coming into it, but the game started up a little bit too fast. Same for yesterday. What's your expectations for this roster? Because they just picked up a 4th placement. Things are looking a little bit difficult, but we do know there is talent amongst this team.
I mean, yeah, there's been talent on these guys for the longest time, and I'll be honest, I think they're actually on a really, really good track, and it's not one that's necessarily unexpected considering their I don't want to say lack of form, but just a little bit underripe during the PCSs, and especially if you want to key in on PCS 3, the event right before they all came over towards Korea. They unfortunately found themselves without a win in the weekly survival. They were pretty low down after the opening weekend as well, but there hasn't been a single bad game. Yeah, they went out in 15th at the start of the day, but they still got 4 kills. They get themselves at least 4 kills every single game. Granted, they usually sit around almost only 4 kills. They have 1-6 and 1-8, but it's still just building up that consistency and showing the willingness and ability to fight. That is a really good baseline for them building up. They're currently in 6. Might not have been the best position for them, but if they can bang out these last 2 Erangel games in a very, very strong manner, we might be seeing an entire North American region represented very, very well in this tournament. Just look at the firepower on Zenith, though, just for final words. Punij and Shinboy have already really started to pick up their firepower from the games over in North America during PCS. Roth has always been an amazing sidekick if he can go aggressive, sometimes too aggressive, we all admit that, but Kickstart, he's always been the star of this roster. It's been a slow start for him in Korea, but he is also now finally starting to wake up. There's sort of a parallel to Oath in that way. If all 4 of these young guns can really be on 100% on their A+ game, this could be a very, very scary team.
Well, looks like the headphones are going on. The players are just getting keyed into the lobby. I'm being told it's about 2 more minutes out, so we'll quickly kind of roll back to some of the teams that are within a fighting chance of this. Ends up at the top, but it's only, I say it's only by 9 points. It's still quite fragile. It depends how they do themselves. They're the ones that could probably knock themselves out of the running for this, but certainly to get the 17th seed going in first after onto the first day would pretty much bolster their confidence. But still, there's a hell of a lot of work to do when you get in there. Detonation Gaming White, again, 52 points down in second, looking confident, but as Clinton's touched on it many a times, you do need these certain scenarios to kind of fold their way, to be able to get into close combat, to be able to be throwing it into what you excel in, that's your own personal gun control. Day Trade Gaming, a team that I didn't expect as much from this lobby, especially given the fact that you have some very heavy hitters in Tiamba, in Down One, but so far, down the bottom end of the table, it's not been the best of times. MCG, good to see them off of the 32nd spot. Good to see them now potentially be performing to their best, and maybe we see them through the week 2 survival. And then we land on 5th. We were looking at them earlier on a little bit more. Bururam, a team with an APAC that has just been destroying all oncomers. It wasn't the great first week 1 going forward for them, but certainly in 5th. They're sitting proud. They're sitting in a good spot, which they may be able to capitalize on from that. 6, 7, 8, Zenith, DXG, Down One. It starts to get a little bit tricky. Then we go down the bottom. But again, with DA grabbing a win, with E36 grabbing a win, maybe, just maybe they avoid that 32nd spot. Divine Gaming, Meta Gaming, T1. They now sit with the eye lines on 32nd. They do not want to be there. T1 has a little bit of a buffer, but Meta and Divine are sat side by side with 18 points each. They need a good game. They need to avoid 16th. The question is, can they do it? It is a Sunday. It's not quite the championship Sunday. Well, you could say it is because we do have a championship weekend coming up, but we've got 6 of them in front of us. That's all teams need to do now is knuckle down, look what's ahead of them, get the job done, whatever way is possible, whatever means you can muster by digging deep into the bag and being able to pull it out. You have to perform now to be able to play next week. Match 7, game start. Toby, Horosaurus, Erangel is upon us. Have fun.
Thank you so much, Sims. Over to Erangel we go for the final 2 games of the week 1 bottom matches. And well, we saw the leaderboard just there. And to be fair, Boro, had you told me coming into this that we'd see the likes of T1 and I mean the teams like that in the bottom of the seeding matches, that'd be surprising me pretty massively.
Yeah, it's definitely been a very interesting weekend for these reseeds, and keep in mind, man, this was originally scheduled to only be 4 games on the reseed. Now PUBG went back and changed it into an 8-game reseed, which is fantastic. Obviously, the more games you can get, the better. But man, It is definitely surprising to see some of those names, and to be honest, I'm looking, if you can come out of this thing in the top 6, you're feeling okay. I think, what was it,
Yeah,
four
yeah.
four teams that were in the top 6, top 7 made it to the weekly finals.
Yeah, I mean, you just pull and attack all around. You only need 2 games, right? So you could finish in 14th
Yeah.
and still be happy.
I mean,
You probably don't want to let it come down to that, but in theory, everything works, right? So
Yeah.
and I mean, yeah, I think you wanna, in my book, you wanna stay. I mean, at the very least, you wanna be 11th or better after this. You wanna have, I mean,
Yeah.
4 or 5 games to get yourself a win. If you're a good enough team with 5 or 6 games, you should be able to get a win. Of course, it's, again, a lot easier said than done. But if you look at the skill set of all the teams, like if you kind of compare an average and say how many wins should these teams be capable of getting, I think 1 win in 4 or 5 games, every single team will have had a chance where they could have won that game, kind of.
Yeah, I definitely think, you give yourself a full day, which would be 5 games, right?
Yeah.
That's probably, if you're sitting low right now, that's probably the best that you could hope for, is to try to get that many. But
Exactly.
still, I mean, top 8 would be great, so that you could try to at least get 2 days, possibly 3. To try to get that win. Because I mean, look at Burry Rom finished 17th, and they got so close, so many times, and still were not able to pull a win out. So
It's
unfortunate.
it ain't easy. Ends getting back-to-back second places. DA getting what was the 3rd place with 17 kills. All that going right down the drain. It's a feels bad, man, because you know you're a capable team. You know you're a damn skilled one, and I don't think any team here is second guessing the fact that they're good at playing this game at a competitive level as well. It's just there is so much more to it that comes into being able to clutch out victories, and it's I mean, if it wasn't difficult already, add some of the best teams in the world up against one another, and it only makes it that much harder. So tall order, tough thing to ask of teams to be able to go out and get wins. But again, as I said, if you play a whole day of games, say 5 games, and you haven't had a game where you felt you had any chance of winning, then it might not just be, oh, we didn't get the circles we needed. Then it might be you having to go back and look at, okay, maybe we're doing things wrong.
Yeah, no, 100%. Meanwhile, we get at least for this game, we get a fairly kind Erangel circle. Mostly centering around ruins area. I mean, it's not necessarily a 50-50 where you're wondering if it's going to go north or south of the river. I think pretty much everybody's considering this is going to go south, right? Ents will probably stay on the north side just because they're Ents, but everybody else should find a place here in the south to try to work from.
That opens up a discussion, or maybe just a question that I want to ask you.
Yeah.
What is on Erangel? In your take, in your opinion, what is the plain white bagel of Erangel circles? Like, what is the circle? We don't have to mention when it pops because it's just the most basic, simple circle that you can get on Erangel. What is it? I mean, we're only talking first circle. I'm not talking about where the game ends.
Right,
I'm just talking the most plain white bagel first circle on Erangel. What is it?
I would say take this circle, drop it down to the south a little bit, and move it over to the east to where it includes Lippo.
Yeah. So far enough north that it's not gonna go milli, and far enough south that it's not gonna go north of the water.
Exactly. That's what I would think. And it could go. Your options are like Yaz Fields or
so
maybe
cinder and
like
potato.
Prison.
Cinder and potato.
Exactly. Yeah. Something like that.
That makes sense.
That seems like
that is the plain white bagel of Erangel
the
circles.
most basic. because when you consider that one too, it's like there's just so many compounds that you can play in that.
Yes.
And
even if you don't like compounds, there's plenty of open areas you can play from as well.
Exactly. And these guys have been playing this for what, 4 years now, to where everybody knows what everybody. I mean, to this point, even in this new lobby where a lot of these guys haven't necessarily played against each other, I still think you could probably say where 75 to 80% of the lobby is going to be.
Yeah.
based on compounds.
Yeah. And we'll have to see
You
if
might
they
not
can
know
get
who's
that,
there, but
yeah, exactly. I was gonna say we'll have to see if they can put those numbers together and figure out who's gonna be the ones and which compounds as well. I mean, over time, of course, they will realize. But I guess if center on potato is your plain white bagel, I guess this is the plain white bagel but with cream cheese. Unless, of course, if you do go north, which there's still a chance that we could, but it's a pretty straightforward circle, which is why we don't give it all that much love. But of course, there is the chance that we go up towards the north. GEX and N's already up here, and Triforce 36 as well. Sitting towards the north, they have the split going around Cube on the bridge on the east side of South George, and you might as well. I mean, if you're on the north side, you might as well play with the backhand being. If it goes north, we're ready for that too. And I think it's a wise position that Entry Force have put themselves in.
Yeah, and if you're looking still north of the river, Evil E, what are you doing, buddy? You're kind of out in a little bit of no man's land here. Wicked just spotting out here. Looks like Evil E should remain safe for the time being because, to be fair, Meta needs to be a little bit careful about their south side here because it looks like Buriram might be making a run up to the potato as well. So this is, when you talk about plain white bagel circle, I'm thinking in my mind, I'm thinking the circle that if I lose somebody in rotation in circle 1, I'm embarrassed.
Yes, I mean, it just shouldn't happen. I mean, Erangel has been played so much now that even though you have changing lobbies and whatnot, as you said before, where teams are gonna be. And okay, fair enough, there might be the off chance that a guy is, or you're driving next to another team and you start shooting at each other because the vehicle meta is the way it is right now. But you should never have to risk so much I guess we just keep that phrase now, in a plain bagel circle. You should never have to risk so much to get into a position that there is any chance in the world that you lose a player. Exactly. At least I don't think so. So if you're coming in from the east side, you go, okay, we're not actually gonna go to Everest this time. We're just gonna sit on the east like Buriram are doing right now. We're not going over extend. We know Meta on the other side. We've just shot over towards them. We've heard the vehicles. Let's just wait and see the next circle, and then we'll make up on our mind on whether we want to take the fight to them or do something else instead. Oh, that's there's a reason I call this area Tony Hawk, because this is where you flip things, This
is where you're doing your dark slides and your combos.
Yep, that's how it is. That never caught on. Oh, maybe I should give it a go again, and try and use that name. No,
it's not terrible. I'd back you up on it, especially since the resurgence of Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Where you get in there. I mean, now that they let you do combos over 1 million, like I just remember when I was a kid, just sitting in front of the TV with my friends, constantly trying to get over 1 million, and now they're getting 64 million. It's ridiculous. But
and what's the trick that you've done the most in Tony Hawk? Reverts.
Oh my god!
Every single time you came down a ramp, reverts.
Exactly. You gotta do the revert. Exactly. Revert to the manual to you're bringing back some good memories for me, Tony.
Good times. Get the Green Day basket case going, or the Ace of Spades, and oh my god, the soundtrack. Don't even get me started. Let's keep the focus on the game, because the trip down memory lane might be one we can't get back from.
I will easily sidetrack.
And you know what? I'm just looking forward to 15 years from now doing whatever we will be doing, and I have no clue what I'm doing in 15 years. Hopefully, I'm casting PUBG, and then we can go back and go in the good old days of playing bake circles, and the good old times at PGI.S 2020 when we're both old and grumpy.
Old and grumpy. I'm already halfway there, brother. I'm already old. I'm just not quite grumpy yet. There we go. The circle is going to go where we pretty much anticipated it going, and look at that Meta already on the move, getting out of that Buriram situation. It looks like they've already got flat top here. Nicely done by Meta, sending Sills in early to take flat top.
Yep. Scouting on the east side up towards the east side of Pochinki, saw the compound open. They were eyeing it for a long time, and I think that's why they didn't focus more on what Buriram were doing on the other side. They were like, we'll be ready to take a fight in case they come, but right now our focus has to be on the north side of Pachinko. We need to check that it's open, and I think they actually sent one down. Still some left before the circle even popped.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that if the circle goes there, we will have it. And now that it's not the best position in the circle, but it's a very good one for sure. Ooh, Aqua, watch out. Good thing those brakes are good. Code Marco, low HP already, trying to make the escape hit. Does he jump off the vehicle? No, he's still driving, but he's low HP. Unfortunately, as you can see, Mithralius and Mert both there at some distance, but Pepper and Array trying to keep their teammates safe.
Good cover. Good cover from Astralis and Mert there. They just saved Code Marco's butt, and that was really well done. Meanwhile, Venotica looks like he might have gone down trying to get in here, and that is not going to be rezzed. There you go. He's going to get flushed out as well. So a number of teams electing to crash into Pachinko here. That's going to be 4 now. You got Damwon, Meta, Daytrade, and half of Petrichor. Petrichor sending 2 and sending 2 back over to the Pachinko warehouses. It's kind of a sonic split, really, one that they use a lot. I'm sure Liquid probably does the same thing over in EU. I'm not sure. You could probably speak better than that than I could.
It's I think it's very clear, and that's not only in regards to Pachinko teams, but just overall. I mean, even though we are competitors, I mean they are, I should say, as players are competitors, and they want to be their own snowflakes and making unique decisions at all times. There's no way in hell, if you're a Pachinko team, you don't look to other regions and go, okay, so what do their Pachinko teams do? How do they split? How do they gain success from where they go? How do they rotate out of whatever city they're looting? And then people take from each other. And I think it shouldn't be, oh, they're copying our strategy. Like, shouldn't be a negative thing. It's rather a compliment to you doing something successful that other teams want to try and replicate.
Exactly. No, it's huge. I mean, that's just called good research, you know? I mean, you think there's any sport that's ever existed in the history of ever that other teams aren't looking at the best team in the world and seeing what they do and try to see what they can incorporate into their own game plan? No, 100%. You got to do that. That's the only way to stay relevant in this day and age. So definitely like seeing it. And even if you're a team like Ents, who definitely surfing their own wave, riding out the blue, I'm sure that there's other teams across the world that they've looked at for certain elements of their game.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a give and take community. You give some strats to take some strats, and who knows? In the end of it, we'll all improve as players. Let's see now. Next circle, where are we headed? First knock in what feels like 15 years comes in. Mao Yi goes down. The rest should be possible across the street. And the circle, to be fair, goes up towards the north. Into Tony Hawk Mania Land we go. And Pachinko is almost out. Now we go from easy peasy to pretty difficult, because no one opted to play the north side early. So it's open, but how in the universe do you get there? Ends caught far down on the south side. Zenith have to make a rotation. They're sending it. Teams know the north is clear. Full speed forward. Whoever comes first gets to claim land for themselves.
And once again, I would love to see DA be able to do something with this. They get dead center circle on circle 3, playing from Watertown. Nobody really around them. This is setting up nicely if they could figure out a way to play it. But it's easier said than done. Obviously, Pachinko is where things are about to get a little bit wonky, as Daytrade and Petrichor are going to have to make their way through, and now Zenith has joined the party up there towards the church area.
I'm loving the fact that they didn't start shooting no after. I saw the vehicles coming through, but they also knew they had one right around the corner. Pure Boy on fire was taken down before. Oh, this nade could be terrifyingly good if it hits. Nope, not cooked well enough. Unfortunately, that could have been right on the money, though. Lynchon will fall back. Pure Boy is still alive. They got to watch out with these nades. They don't accidentally take down a teammate. An evil lead. We saw Noratra slowly creep up on him before. Will fall down. Smart in holding his fire, allowing the vehicles to pass through when they knew they had a freebie on the other side of the hill. Oh my God, Minx with the arm. Can you satisfy him? Will Sims the host be happy with the 15x as well? Oof. Not opting to go for it. No, they hit the tree. Ooh, get away! Get away, get away! Will they get away? I'm not sure they will. Shots fired. One goes down. Will 2 go down? Or will Amanut be able to survive? For now, he is somehow. I'm glad I didn't hold my breath for that one, because I would have fainted by now. But somehow he stays alive. I'm not entirely sure how that happened.
Boy, I'm not either. That was real close. And yeah, Ming's looking into their soul with that 15x. He sees the future. He already knows he killed Silpha somewhere. Like, that's how far into the future he's seeing with this thing. Really close on not taking the shot. I mean, I guess he just hadn't taken the shot. He doesn't want to give away the fact that they've got an AWM yet. Maybe, I don't know. Or
I think it's just him not wanting to give up his up angle position. But there you go, headshot comes in, and unfortunately for Sims, right after we cut away from him, that's it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. We know that it hit, though. We know that it hit. We know the knock came in, and Sylvia will fall. Not only that, but I think he is down and out as well. I'm not simply not in position to go out and really help him. Now, let's see the next circle. We are going to shift away from water. That's, of course, not very telling, but it is telling enough because down south we go, and as expected, we're headed into the open. Now, with the Wrangle Remastered, more, I guess you can say, cover and deeper ditches were added, but it still is a very open area. And if you don't have vehicles at this point, pushing in there will be suicidal.
I think Kia's got to move. The last time we looked at Kia, I think they made their way to that dead center position, but I think all they had were motorcycles. I don't think they've got the vehicles to really have a car for it out there. But we'll see what they end up doing. As we check in with Divine, they're coming out of Razak Hills. You can see them taking shots over towards Buriram, who's hanging out in the little ditch just to the north of we'll call it Mini Pachinki, the safe word. Where Gex is kind of occupying right now. Gex doesn't really have to move yet either, so they're perfectly content to let Divine just kind of pepper onto Buriram right now and do their job for him.
It's I would assume that GX's primary focus is on the hills still. They know Mamo is up there. Get the flush on him and make sure you ain't going to get backstabbed by teams trying to make their way down towards the compound. Now, speaking of Petrico, Ix left, you saw him there, still inside the city. 3 of them are here. They want to get out of there, and I think they want to get out of there without taking a fight. Gray's trying to make the run forward. Ix left kind of caught in the open. We'll try and see if he can get away as well, but Meta are trying to contain him inside the walls of Pachinki.
And they've got Day Trade sneaking up on the back. I'm not even sure if Meta knows they're coming just yet. Let's take a few shots. We threw the smoke. And there you go. Day Trade will get spotted out. They'll get one, but traded back immediately. And Zenith, keep in mind, overlooking this the whole time.
Yep, they're looking to try and see, or trying to find the best approach on this one. And I'm loving the fact that they're not overcommitting and pushing into the city right now, because that would potentially be their downfall as well. Nate's thrown, Daytrade falls. Meta Gaming finally a little bit of sun shining on their faces as they get themselves some kills. Is it all over though? No, not quite yet. They still have to fight their way out of the city, but at least for now, they have some space to move around. Ends pull up here. That's something I feel like we've seen before, and yep, it's gone the way that I anticipated it to. I barely even noticed that in the kill feed because it happened so fast, but there you go. That's how fast you can wipe a finished team.
Oh, well, and that's how fast you can
Speaking
wipe
of wiping.
Yeah.
Speaking of wiping,
Holy
down they go
smokes.
as well. 13th place for them. T1 out on the east side, or west side, sorry. They know that Zenith are out here as well. Roth is the one up close, you say. He's the one that likes to go for the info, and I'm sure he found all of it. Full team down here. Get the hell out of this position and get back to your teammates.
Let's see, back with LG Divine. They had one from MCG Tank. I think Summer has made it a little bit further. You can see him off in the distance there. That should be resable there for Divine as they figure out where to go next. It looks like the Damwon is on the move as well, and they're crashing onto the Detonation Gaming White compound. They've got Petricord on the high side as well. T1 just taking off of this under the watchful eyes of Tiamba, who also have to get on the move. Where do you go if you're T1? It's another crash.
The compound? Yeah, hello? Where? No, they didn't know. They want to settle above, but Petricor's here. This has got to be a freebie. Here comes the drive-by squad. Let's see if it's going to work. No one dead so far. Adam falls, Starlord falls. There should be one more, and that's all she wrote. T1 pulled off an ends, and down they go.
Remember when the drive-by meta was supposed to be broken for this, Toby? I seem to recall that everybody was saying it was going to be Mad Max everywhere. Yeah.
I mean, to be
It's
fair,
not
it is, but
happening,
the
is it?
guys in the cars are losing. That's for sure.
Yeah, that is true.
It's not like they're not trying, Poro. It's just they're not really having the same success
It's
we were
just not
expecting they
having
might have.
success. Fair
Yeah.
enough. All right. Well, we see Divine has gotten back everybody back up. Now Tiamba, as we said, finally on the move. I think they were trading some shots, trying to see if they could take out Zenith or T1 and out Digital Athletics in a nice spot to shoot back down onto them. No knocks coming through just yet, but DA also has to move to get inside circle here, so this might be a fight that breaks off.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see the DA not going for that position early, but now they are sitting above trying to throw nades in. Speaking at the same time here, Divine trying to make the pull on up towards Detonation Gaming White, and as we heard Paper say in the break, the Japanese teams excel at defending compounds. Let's see now if Detonation Gaming White can hold off here.
It's all tower defense right now. They've got good angles to hold. Every one of them is a different building. Unfortunately, they got the initial knock, weren't able to get the flush. Meanwhile, in the kill feed, you can see Sparking is just destroying Zenith as a solo right now. I don't know what happened there. Yep, there Roth is going to get flushed out, and now Meta still have 4 up. They've got 6 kills. Zenith down to just Poonage as we wait and see how this fight is going to play out. LG Divine does get the res off, and now it's a 3-team fight. Let's go.
As if it wasn't hectic enough already. Multi-circle gaming will fall. That's elsewhere on the map, taking the fight to DA, trying to get the better of them, not going to succeed in doing so. Kale outside the building here. He's a great fragger. Great player trying to get info moving forward. Now Amanut from one Japanese team to another. Let's see if he can do something against the entire roster of Tianba. Ain't quite the case. Down he goes in the blue, and down he goes to under as well. The fight on the north side between Tianba and D8 was delayed a little bit, but I think it's going to come right back into it now.
Right onto the compound. Wouldn't you know it? Here we go, through the smoke, through the flames, through the fire. Mings will find Smash. He was their anchor position. Metrales and Marco still up, though. We'll see how long these two can stand it. But Tiamba, very, very aggressive once they feel like there's blood in the water. There we go. Trade coming out. It's down to Metrales. 1 up. Sparking going to do a little bit of assistance here from range. And look at that. Ragnar going to get in hot. That might actually be the only thing that could have slowed Tiamba down.
I was going to say, that might be all the DA needed in order to stay alive. And, oh, the Indigo, you don't do that when you pull up a compound, buddy. You do not do that. You saw him jump out on the left of the car. You park elsewhere. DA will fall in the end of it. Tiamba stay alive. 7 kills and 3 up. This could be the, I guess, start to return to glory for Tiamba. Such a talented team that we just have not seen a whole lot from in this tournament so far. Now, hopefully this can be the start of, I don't want to start quoting High School Musical songs. That'd be awkward. It could be. I was about to.
1,000 different directions I thought you were going to take that. Not one of them in my mind was High School Musical.
No, it could be the start of something new. That's, you know what, I'm going to do it. No, we took it too far. But there you go. There you go.
Just go with it. I like it. Roll with it. Meta still got 4 up coming from that south side. They're taking it slow, taking it easy. This is what I wanted to see from them. Not overcommitting, not overreaching, only going as far as they're able to scout. That's what I like to see.
It's smart decision making. Also, I mean, for meta gaming, as you say, not overcommitting, but not only that, but keeping all 4 alive throughout everything. They've gotten the kills in the city. They knew when to back off. They know now they have Petrichor close. But they're in a position to take the fight because they opted not to overextend early. Now, from having engaged a building, they now have to be the ones to try and prevent others from doing the exact same thing to them. All of Damwon Kia are within the same 3-story house, and Tiamba from outside might be in nade distance, but I think they used all their nades trying to take the fight to DA earlier.
Yeah, they look like they might be a little bit low on the utility here. It looks like Meta, they would love to take care of Poonage here, but that grenade's going to hit the tree. Unfortunate. They're also, you can see Ragnar doing a good job of just keeping an eye on Petrichor, not trying to fight with him, not trying to commit, just making sure that they stay there. If they try to push, then immediately Meta will know, but right now they're just content with holding the line, waiting to see where this next circle goes.
Yeah, and they should, because it's 2 completely different scenarios. Should the circle go into the compound, or should they get the circle in the south? If it shifts south, even if they're not in themselves, they can wait it out, pretty much guarantee themselves more placements. But with the circle going west, they now know the dice have been rolled and they have to take the fight to Petrichor one way or another. There's no chance in hell that the compound is going to push up towards them. They will have to be their own success story and taking that fight to the west side. And to be fair, in my opinion, they do it now before GX has a chance to interfere.
That's got to be the thing, doesn't it? They still very concerned with trying to take care of Poonage, but the biggest problem, as you said, it's that high ground where Petrichor is the spot. That's where everybody wants to be. And Meta, they can make that push. Oh, bleed out. There we go. Okay, finally taken care of. Now we can look over at Petrichor. Fortunately for them, GEX had somebody get knocked, so they were starting to kind of look over in this direction, but that slowed them down. So now Meta can kind of put all their attention towards this. I would like to see them leave one behind just to make sure that Gex doesn't come up here, but they got to take out this Petrichor squad.
Yeah, and this open area right here is kind of the hellhole for Meta having to cross their vehicle. I don't think you want to be anywhere near that two-wheel US. And what they were hoping for, I would assume, is the fight in the compound to escalate earlier, or GX playing a factor in this, because if they come in from underneath, they might be able to pin down on Petrichor now. Ragnar close, full. Here comes Leo up close. That's going to deviate some of the attention on that other side of the circle. Let's see now if this is going to help out Meta in any way, shape, or form.
Slowly playing out through the smokes. I like the position of Silzen. That was really, really well played. Now Mill's going to spot out Wicked, though. And you can see GEX getting absolutely roasted by Kia. Wicked will go down as well. Silzen is in a good position, but he is losing the fight here with Gray, and that might be it. Yep, that is done for Meta. Well held by Petrichor.
Yes.
Don't even lose a single player.
Exactly. I was just going to say extremely well played by Petrichor. We saw Mamu earlier today get 10 kills in one game on his own. Now their team is up to 9 once more, with probably more to come. There are knocked players and GX down the hill that have just been rest, but this should be a very doable hold for them. And should the final circle shift south, that's top 2 guaranteed for Petrichor, because all the teams in the compound will have to fight. I just gotta say, I've never seen 4 teams in that compound before. 10. Are we gonna see 11? CC? Nope, he's backing off.
Oh, that circle shift.
Yeah, it's
circle shift goes to compound again. And man, I feel like you gotta like Tiamba's chances right now, don't you? I mean, they've got the outside spot. Yeah. I mean, Kia basically has the dot, right? But
yeah, exactly.
That's kind of the issue.
It's going to be a question of how the focus is going to kind of unfold to Kia. They will have to look towards the east, to the compound to some extent, but how fast will this kind of ensue? Because as you can see, you can't push, like you're exposing yourself if you're Petrichor. Now, they're not inside the circle yet. They have to go down the hill, and they will be visible to pretty much everyone once they do so. So it's on Tiamba, to be fair, to stay alive out here. There's nothing that Kia can really do right now to try and push. I think everyone at this point has used all the nades they had available. So right now, it's just everyone waiting for LG Divine to make that first push over towards Destination Gaming Wide in the east.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the smart money favors Dom Juan here, just having 4 up in the compound, mere feet away from the dot. But I mean, anything can happen still. There's still 5 alive, still a lot of players up in these final circles. So you know, LG Divine still has to push through Detonation Gaming White. You see the Molotovs coming through. Macau going to stay out of it. And yeah, he's going to stay alive. As Divine, I mean, this is some technical urban warfare here.
I was gonna say, this is what happens when you put 3 passive teams in the same compound. No one is gonna be the ones wanting to attack. And to be fair,
everybody dies to blue.
I mean, I would not be surprised if we see a few casualties to the blue monster, but this is very passive. Everyone's waiting for the other team to make mistakes instead of trying to force the fights themselves. I like it, but also we're reaching a point now, as you can see with Turtle, where the blue is so close that you had a chance to make a good play earlier, and now then the good play is not available any longer. Turtle is isolated in the building. He's going to throw smoke out now, but I think they had the chance to make the push before. Now all their eyes, like everyone else's eyes, are fixed on Divine, and they simply took too long. Again, you have to commit to decisions earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I think every bone in your PUBG competitive playing body is telling you we get the knock, then we push. Get the knock, then we push. Well, if you don't get the knock because they're not giving you the angle, you got to make a decision at a certain time. And again, like you said, I think you hit the nail on the head. What?
Oh, the double nade inside the building from Malofo gets down both of the players from Divine, and there was such a big chance for them to make an aggressive push here. Throw nades on their windows, you're going to make the run for it, but not the case. They spent too much time trying to find out what they wanted to do, and then if it came to cost them down. They go Petrichor on the hillside, still 12 kills as Mamu falls down. Malofo again out there doing damage, finds the double as well. Gray goes down too. Malofo on his own finds one more. It's going to be Mings to find the final. Mill goes down, Petrichor eliminated with just a 3 teams.
Oh no, Mings! Mings goes down. Tiamba had a good hold on the outside of this, but Kia Damwon doing a phenomenal job keeping everyone alive. And look at this disgusting, filthy, dirty angle coming out from Songjiang as he is going to spot out. I think they know exactly where Lorena is, but the shotty! Let's go, C's. We'll find Mings, but now it's all down to, I believe, Damwon and just Macau. Yeah, Lorena has been taken out.
Goodbye, burn, baby, burn. That's what's gonna happen here. Boy. Down, he's gonna go. Molly is on point. Molly's gonna get him. Molly's gonna kill him. And Damwon Kia, welcome back, guys. Where have you been? Where have you been? They came out so strong in the start of the tournament. They failed to grab themselves a win in the survival matches, and they have been a shadow of their former self here as well. Up until this point, finally, they get something going. They crashed early, they claimed the compound, they get themselves a win.
I gotta tell you, I did not envision that being how Damwon got their win. That was ugh. That was awful. That just terrible for the last.
That was a city ending in a compound. It's what it was.
It's been so long since we've seen it just like fall directly on top of a compound like that. And
yeah,
you know, to be fair, I mean, Damwon kept everybody up. They played their cards right. They played it cool. They never, you know, gave up. I don't think they ever actually even gave up any knocks. I mean, I feel like if they would have given up a knock, they would have early on when there was like 4 teams in this compound, I feel like if they would have given up a knock or two, they might have gotten pushed. And
yeah, they could have been. Yeah, true. They were in a good position to make the plays when they didn't. To be fair, I mean, they played their cards right. They knew who they were up against in the end of it, and they waited. But unfortunately for other teams, so did they. Damwon had the space to wait. Damwon had the dot to wait on. But the likes of Divine and other teams that I've seen succeed when being aggressive didn't dare to pull the trigger when they had the chance to, and it came to bite them.
Yeah, surprising to see Divine just kind of second guess themselves a little bit there, unfortunately. But well, there you go, 10 kill win for Damwon Kia. That's going to be good enough to pump them up the leaderboard. Let's see what the analysts have to say about this before we head into our final game. Guys, take it away.
Thank you very much, guys. Yes, indeed. We have to be quick about this one because the final map is getting loading in the back. They need a quick turnaround on this one, so we'll kind of jump straight to it. Clinton, 20-point game for Damwon Gaming. We said we needed to see some signs of life in this roster. It looks like the comeback has begun right at the very last minute.
Yeah, I mean, it's just good movement by them getting over into that ditch, holding off Entz's push very effectively, not even really getting run over or anything like that, getting shot out of the vehicles, and then making a good move to the ridges, a little bit risky at times, but the rest of the team's busy fighting on the edges. Like you mentioned, Rich, while we were sitting there, there's just so many teams on the edges during that moment. Damwon Kia is able to get in. They find a perfect timing to get to the triple stack building, take the win from there. Just goes right on top of them.
And unfortunately, from top of the board for Korea all the way down to the bottom, Cammy, it just looks like dire straits here for T1 and the difficulties and the struggles of the PCS results, ups and downs we've seen coming into this one. Unfortunately, 16th place is just, it's, you know, I know T1 was having a bit of a difficult time, but I never saw them in 32nd.
Yeah, I have to agree. And again, especially because they came up huge and surprised a lot of us during the weekly survival, but things have just not been clicking. They had a good previous game with the 6 kills second place. it's looking rough for them. But I do, on an inverse of that, want to put my eyes a little bit on the Petrichor Road. You saw Gray there with 5 kills, Mills up here in second place in damage. This is a team that, compared to their counterparts from their region, were overshadowed, similar like T1 from Korea. But they, I think, have been slowly really been stepping it up. They get a 4th place here in this round, but with 12 kills. That puts them, I think, almost second place if you look at just points, 2nd or 3rd place around that area, which honestly is more important to look at, because unless you're looking at their survival, weekly survival, that's what it's called, the actual placement doesn't matter. It's all about the amount of points that you can get, and they worked that ridgeline just south of those ending compounds very, very well. It was a brutal run to get into that final circle, which is why they went out in 4th anyway, but still very, very good to see how they've been performing.
Look, I think reminiscent of this entire competition, I've seen more shotguns used across this week than what I have in 2 years of EU PUBG. So here we go. That's something to look forward to. Standings as they currently sit now. The interesting factor for me, and it really is tough at the bottom. I mean, jumping straight up to first, ENCE, they had a bit of a Hail Mary. They went out in 16th, but they have the points to at least buffer. Still, you know, all that aside doesn't mean you can kind of mess around at this point. You want to be in 17th spot. You want to get into those groups, these survival lobbies as quickly as possible. 16th through 12th. Like 5 teams separated by 1 point. Even some of them separated by kills, because we know if you join on points, it then moves on to the frags. Like, for 32nd place, this could not be a more vital match. You want to at least get some chance, something next week. You don't want to be sat in multi-circle gaming's position where they've had no money. Now, again, even if you're down in the reseeding groups, you don't get the automatic buy to the weekly survival. Doing everything you can now, T1, Metagaming, Digital Athletics, LG Divine, Global Esports, there is so much to be said for just being able to jump up a few points. For everybody else, it's kind of the same road, right? Try and get up as much as you can. Try and do whatever you can. For ENCE, I think it'd be a fantastic buffer if they somehow be able to jump up into first place. Certainly, there's nothing too much to worry about. They are going to be qualified to the next weekly finals. But after a 16th spot, you want to be trying to get 17th. It's all eyes on the prize now. Clinton, really quickly, we'll go through both you and Cammy. Who are you looking forward to performing for the final match of today?
I mean, for me, I'm kind of curious to see what's going on with those bottom 5 teams that are all within 3 points of each other. I mean, T1, Metagaming, LG Divine, all very, very strong teams in their regions. Can they, you know, rally here and find a way to avoid that 32nd spot?
Cameron, same question to you. Any particular team you got eyes on for this final map?
I want to see Sparking on meta continue to go off. He basically almost single-handedly dismantled Zenith on his own in the previous game. And compared to their previous performances this week, it seems that the rest of the team is finally starting to pick up and match his energy. We all know how, I mean, pardon the pun, how much of a shining light Sparking himself can be, so it could be a little daunting to play with him. But he is such a talent. To see him not be in the weekly survival is going to be disappointing.
All right then, match 8, final time to shine. Thank you very much to our sponsors once again, Intel, Tumai, Zowie, and Perrier. Toby, Porosaurus, Map 4, Erangel, over to you.
Final game of week 1 bottom matches, brought to you, of course, by Intel, where gaming happens. This is going to be an absolute bang of a game. And yes, of course, we could all look at the top, because that's normally, Poro, where our eyes would be hot fixed for a final game of anything. But we have,
I can't help it,
5 teams within 1 point of one another. Potentially one of them, I would have to assume one of those 5 teams, maybe if you add E36 as well, there's 6 teams would be missing the entire next week. That is terrifying.
And DXG in 10th isn't exactly safe either. You know, I mean, this is such a close bottom of the leaderboard. I mean, how bad would you feel if you were going into the final game in 10th place, feeling like you're okay, you know, I'm going to get to play 2 days worth of games, feeling great, and then in one game, you know, you just happen to, something goes wrong, you go out in 16th, and all of a sudden you go from 10th to 16th and you don't play at all. Like that would just be devastating.
And one thing is, I mean, of course we can't, it's inevitable. We will have teams that will miss games because that's just the way the format is. But the teams that are down here, who would have thought coming in like after the first couple of days of the tournament. Who would have thought DA to be potentially missing out on week 2? Meta Gaming, great South American team or LATAM team. T1 as well, household name in Korean PUBG esports. Divine, one of the very best teams to ever play in all of APAC. This is absurd.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I mean, I think it just goes to show you the strength of this lobby. Even though this is, you know, quote unquote the bottom 16 of the lobby, like this is, I guess, the worst of the best teams in the world. So it's still just like incredibly difficult lobby to find success in, and you know, it's definitely shocking to see DA, T1, Meta,
Yeah.
like all those teams down there. It's just it's heartbreaking, but you know, that's where we're at right now. I mean, everything, we're so competitive in this in all regions. Everybody is so damn good.
Yeah, it's it's a joy and a curse. You make the tournament, you're the best in your region coming in super. It's like when you finish elementary school and you're the oldest in the school, you feel so cool. You get to high school, all of a sudden you're the youngest. You're, God damn it, we were the cool ones last year, now we're back to being the kids again. You've got to be kidding me. That's, you finally win your region, you come in and you go, oh wait, these guys also won their regions. Wait, now we're not necessarily the cool kids anymore. But we'll see. By the end of the day, we know one thing is that one team will be the not cool kids, at least, because there's still a lot to fight for. None of these guys are guaranteed to be playing the finals next week. They will have to fight their way through with very limited games to play. We'll have to fight their way through the games. But that's another thing, right? Because one thing is you go, okay, 30-second team is going to miss out. We talked about in the last game as well, Poro, how you want to have at least like 4, preferably 5, even more if possible, games to buffer.
Yeah.
Because these teams are literally at the same point margin. You can see it on the left side of the screen here as well. 3x, like 3 times 27, 2 times 26, just 1 point. 1 or 2 points could be you getting 5 more games to play like the weekly survivals. That's insane.
That's absolutely crazy, and I mean, you gotta wonder what kind of pressure these guys are going through right now, knowing I gotta imagine that they have somebody feeding this leaderboard over to them, being like, guys, just try to get as many kills as you can, like sell out for it.
Exactly,
we don't care. Just do something.
Claim points, because that's some desperate times, and you got to look at. I mean, in my eyes, again, still, I don't even want to call it an EU bias. It's just the fact that DA is a team that probably, to be fair, surprised all regions coming into the finals, and also even in the weekly survival, the fact they go out and get a 17-kill game that then doesn't amount to much because of the way the format is structured. Is they're a team that has impressed in the fact that they get 7 points on the entire first day. That's baffling to me, and I mean, they've over tripled that today alone.
Everybody has good days. Everybody has bad days.
Yes.
Unfortunately for DA, they've just run into a little bit of a string here that they are going to have to break. Fortunately, best case scenario, all they got to think about is this game right in front of them right now. They got to get as many points as they could possibly find to just to find some level of safety and try to give them a little bit of a chance here next week. Because I think I can't think that DA is not learning from every single game that they're playing here. So I think that next week, once we get to the weekly rounds, I expect to see DA playing the same brand of PUBG that they found so much success with, but doing it with stuff that they've learned from this week as well.
For sure. It's no reason to fix it if it ain't broken, you know. And I feel like even though you have some games that don't go your way, DA are clearly on a path to something that could very easily be successful with how they're playing right now.
Look at this little cheeky bridge camp by Tiamba.
Yeah, I saw it too. I was like, that's kind of interesting, but let's take a look down towards the south as well, the east, I should say, towards Naya. Buriram, they lost Edie early. Now they get revenge, and we can go, who's the one that really pays the price here? So far, Buriram sits in 7th at 44 points. Sure, they could claim more. There's 45 on Multi-Circle Gaming and 2 teams sitting at 47, so but they're still in it with enough games to play coming in, like regardless of what happens this game, I feel like. But Divine, they're down the bottom, and hold that thought for a second, because now Multi-Circle Gaming is starting to take casualties too.
Yeah, they're all fighting for that plane crash area, and actually it looks like MCG is just going to get on out of there as GEX steals one away from them, and MCG just again, that's they got to be them thinking, look, we got to try to make it late game, we got to try to get as many kills as possible. They're sitting okay. I mean, they're in 6th, but with a good game, they could find themselves all the way up to 3rd. And every single game that you're going to give yourself additionally, every additional chance that you give yourself to try to get a win is going to be absolutely huge. We've seen that this past week. So, well, let's see. I'm still trying. I mean, there's still plenty of places up here on this North George area to still play. I'm actually surprised, Toby, how many teams are electing to stay in that South George area. I guess maybe thinking that this might cut south.
I mean, to be fair, Tiamba is making it really difficult for anyone to want to go north, and that's kind of a roadblock that's preventing anyone else from going towards the north. And now that DXG is forced to sit around down by Hospital, that means that even if day trade came up, they're going to play even further south. So it kind of becomes a domino effect, and you won't get that reference in terms of me saying it because I completely butchered that sentence last time I did it. But now I did it right. Domino effect of teams just struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just couldn't find that word last time I tried to say it, and it became and now I did it correctly. So there you go, chat commenting on me not knowing how to say domino effect. I did it. We learned. We progressed today. I became a level 2 caster. What does chat know? Yeah, that's true. They know codes. They know codes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
They know codes. That's all they know.
Fair enough. Well,
but
here's our boys from Petrichor.
Yeah, continue.
Oh no, this is Petrichor. Yeah, this is one of those teams. Again, you look at your leaderboard. Your top 2, they're fine, right? I mean, they're gonna maybe trade back and forth depending on how things finish, but they're not gonna get past most likely unless Damwon has a fantastic game. But as big of a logjam as we see there from like 11th to 16th, it's just as close from that 4th to 10th. 4th to 9th even position. So just a couple of points here and there, and that's like 2-3 more games, more opportunities that you're going to get.
Yeah. The fact of the matter is, because no one has really separated themselves. I mean, even with Destination Gaming White playing well, they haven't had like lights out performances and overshadowing everyone else. Because no one separated themselves, the leaderboard is absurdly close. It's terrifyingly close, to be fair, for everyone. I mean, for anyone sitting down the bottom right now, let's say they get a lights out game here with double-digit kills and a win, that's them jumping up something like 10 or 11 spots.
Yeah.
That's how close the leaderboard is right now, off of just one game.
Oh, man. It is fingernail biting time. The nerves, and I mean, it feels like the calm before the storm right now as we see everybody kind of setting up, waiting for this next circle to pop. I mean, I feel like it's going to go north, but I mean, there's so many teams down to the south here. This could be absolutely brutal if this bet doesn't pay off.
Well, there you go. North is where we go, and not just north, but northwest. We're limiting a lot of rotation paths into this circle. Yes, you can take the bridge, Tiamba. Would love for you to try and do so, but I'm thinking if you're day trade, even if you're DXG, maybe opt to take a boat at this point. To be fair, and that's the thing with the plane path. The plane path was to the east. The plane was east, so there are boats to be taken. Let's see if Sean Yang will be taken down on the bike. Nope, not quite the case. Didn't opt to go for the pistol there either. Trying to get some kills. And Zenith, okay, not opting to cross the bridge. Maybe they wanted to set up a bridge camp themselves, but now they find themselves on top of Tianba.
And they are already down 1. Punich does get taken down. The rest of Zenith starting to push in here. Ming's just going to bail on out of this. Tickstar going to take damage from his own player here as Mings tries to reposition. Lin Shun still kind of left behind here. And meanwhile, Meta has run into Damwon again on the rotation. Sparking going to pay the price. Now Under will go down to Ragnardinho. And what is going on? They're just still scrapping this out in the middle of this open field. This is insane.
You set the comp before the storm. The storm came early. That's that's the way it is.
They flush the kill and get the res. That's huge. That's huge if they're allowed to get away with that.
very big. And not only that, but they get themselves into a good position too. The only downside to this now is that Wicked is all on his own on the north side. They were all kind of mid-transition, and 3 of them had to stop. Of course, they do get the kill, they do get the rest up. It's massive, huge points for Meta, who are sitting in 14th right now. But they need to get up to Wicked, because Wicked is in a really good spot. Now they're trying to make the rotation, but it might be too late for them. Lorena does get flushed. Kickstart able to find the kill there. M200 is sitting around trying to get something going. And, ooh, I think, yep, that's Minx tagged up. Headshot comes in. That nade could be good if it bounces on the correct side of the wall. Oh, not gonna hit.
Send him back to the training ground. Send him back to the training ground. Gotta hit those nades, man. Keeping 3 up for Zenith is nice right now. Tiamba still just kind of repositioning. Lin Shun, as you said, still kind of on the south side of this. Day Trade looked like they were trying to go for boats, but I think it got stolen away by DXG, who's sending it, and they should have a really clear path for themselves. Oh, just ripped him. Uh-oh.
Look at the ammo count as well. 24 bullets for Ike's left. That ain't optimal. Maybe go to Mill and be like, hey, if I gotta rest you, then give me some ammo first, because I'm gonna need it. Let's see. We won't need any more. That's not for now anyway. Stays alive as I say that. Does fall, but damage is done already. 2 knocks came in. Junit's on his own for now. Turtle is coming over trying to help, but Gray is already up close. He's down to low HP already. Let's see if he's gonna be able to find him. He does. Turtle, though, on the side, finds one in return. This is gonna be a very, very difficult situation to find. Petrichor is down to just 1 player alive right now. 3 are knocked. There's a chance he can get all of it back on their feet, but he needs to deal with Turtle first.
And that's going to be bad news for LG Divine. They're going to get this res off. They've only got 1 kill, and you can see they're sitting in 13th place. And you don't want to be the first one out when you're in that bottom little grouping right there, because you're just going to have to then sit and wait and watch and hope that nobody passes you. New circle pops, and that's pretty much where we would have expected to go. And the south side, this Zenith Tiamba fight is going to have to come to a head here shortly.
Yeah, let's see. Divine in the blue now, trying to make something out of what is essentially nothing. Turtle's on his own. Jen is going to go down to blue. There he falls. Mamu finds the kill. Mamu with great success story today. It's been such a massive impact on Petrichor's performance over today's games. That nade was close, but unfortunately not quite close enough. For first aid still for Turtle. It is only phase 3, so he can tank it for quite a while, to be fair. But I was going to say it's a question of how much Petrichor are willing to commit to finding the kill here.
Well, I mean, they've got time to really sit around and do this. I mean, they're outside of circle for sure, but I mean, given their place in the leaderboard, they can pretty much take care of that. Okay, this fight's still going on, as it looks like Xena still have 3 up. They've taken out another one, taken out Lorena. Now what do you do if you're Tiamba? They've got you backed up against a wall here. Oh, they actually go out.
It seems to me like Petrichor doesn't care about winning this game. They just want to find Turtle, and they're full on committed to doing so. I mean, to be fair, right now it looks all decent for Divine sitting in 11th, but we're nowhere near placement points yet, and the teams below will succeed. Let's see. Divine will fall at 29. We currently have 5 teams below them, but just 1 or 2 points for each of them, and they'll all be succeeding. So could be, there is a good chance that Divine will be the team we will not get to see in week 2. We'll have to, of course, keep you posted on that, or you can just keep your eyes on the left side of the screen, because the leaderboard will update automatically.
I can't believe that M200 wasn't able to get at least one of those Zenith boys out of the car there. That was a rare little fluff on the spray down there from very, very talented player from Tiamba. But looks like the southern side has gotten cleared up for the most part now. Zenith has found their way into South George. Meanwhile, Petrichor, they're still running, and this is what we were worried about. They're going to be right next to Buriram. Mamu.
It's a solid spray. Solid spray coming in. Mamo does get to stay alive. Him and Gray will have to try and rotate northbound, but they're going to run from one team straight into another. That's usually how it goes when you have these north side positions. We are in phase 4, 20 seconds from now, and that's when the circle's really going to start taking quite massively. So trying to stay put now ends up on the north side here. They are trying to take the fight to Detonation Gaming White, the first and second place team. Again, not too much for them to fight for here, but we've seen it. Both of them failed to qualify in week 1, and ENCE won all the chances they can get to qualify for week 2 finals for sure.
Absolutely. If they can get a knock on to Detonation Gaming here, I imagine they go for it and they try to flush them out, because that is your ticket to that first place spot. I mean, you will be the first team in after one winner is decided. They are outside a circle as well, so this fight could take a little bit of time to play out, but looks like Petrichor are going to stay alive for the time being. Oh no. Okay, Gex. Hit those. Oh, there you go. Goodbye.
Doesn't always work the way you want it to, but they're sitting pretty decently now in 4th. Will probably fall to potentially even down to 7th place, to be fair, depending on how many points the teams below them get, but still will be with a decent amount of chances to qualify. And looking at how they've played here, Petrichor, I mean, I think they have a good chance of at least napping themselves one win next week, but of course it's much easier said than done. It's we've seen the best of the best fail to do so, so assuming any one team will get a win is a lot to do.
I will say that they've looked better today, but looking down at their whole line, they've got a lot of work to do. I mean, a lot of work to do. Whoa!
Wicked looked all the way, anticipated the approach, and here they come. He is on his own. Silson is the one doing the damage from the side right now, though. He's just the bait in front of them. There are DXG players behind, and they have to be ready for that to happen. Fortunately, they're able to get the flushes quickly. You can see IQ 500 now starting to shoot over towards Meta, who are finding themselves in between two teams.
Yeah, I think Meta was anticipating this. They do manage to take out DGW, but again, they were expecting this push from DXG. You'll see if they can reposition here a little bit. DXG just going to throw the ambitious Molotov, see if they can find anything. Look at that position for Silson right there. If they come up at the right time, he can absolutely rip them.
See, very well put together here. Division X Gaming playing real close to one another. We know that can be scary when nades are starting to fly towards you, but if they opt to push around this side together, there shouldn't be. I'm not going to say there won't be, because we've seen crazier things before, but there shouldn't be a chance for them to get the kills. Ragnar will fall. Silson still playing close. Spoiler doesn't want to give up his position just yet.
You got 3 grenades in your pocket right now. You lost a teammate. They're pushing on Wicked. It's a 4v1 right now, Silson. You got to step up. There you go. We're gonna open it up with 1 reposition. Good stuff. Good stuff. Now you got the 3 grenades. Start making them do something here.
Might as well wait for your teammate to get flushed. So if you nade him, it's your fault for killing him. That's something. Iron sights. Long K couldn't find, I guess, a red dot or hollow to put on the gun. Will up to play the iron side. Around the side comes Long K trying to get Wicked down. Succeeds. No, doesn't succeed in doing so. Wicked able to find him. Stays alive for now.
Good 1v1 win there for Wicked. That was absolutely huge. And Silson, meanwhile, he realizes he's got him pinned up against the wall. They've got to be hurting. They've got to be taking some damage. Yeah, he's going to find 1. Can he find 2? Let's do it. Wicked going to take all of them away, though. That is a boatload of kills there picked up by Meta. That's good stuff for them. Oh, what?
Here comes Tixu in the vehicle driving on by, and at the end of it, it's going to be Squeaky actually being the one getting taken down. Tixu, I mean, I guess Squeaky was the bait and all of it, and Tixu came plowing on through with the vehicle, gets Sean Yang down, but the rest should come in. And as you were saying, I mean, great play from Wicked. Not only does he get the 3 kills, but we saw how close the leaderboards were before. Now they're all sitting tied at 29. They need every points they can, especially with just 1 player alive. Every single kill point here could be the matter of them getting X amount of more games to play.
Absolutely, and if nothing else, I mean, Meta was tied for last going into this game, and that should pull them up a fair amount here as we see the rest of the boys from ENCE just holding court from their little hole in the ground. Rustamar going to take a few shots. Wicked trying to make the rotation on the buy there. I'm not sure where he's even trying to go. I guess all the way down into Kale's bullets. Okay, done and done for Meta. But they pick up a fairly good amount of points there. They put themselves all the way up into 11th.
Yeah, it's a to be fair, all you could really ask of them when they started losing players early. They got split up on the rotation. Was a tricky situation to be in. but they managed to salvage as best as they could, and we'll see where that puts them in the end of the leaderboard, or in the leaderboard at the end of the game. GX wrapped South around to like their positioning despite being in the open. They waited to go here until they knew the hillside was out. That's really their only counter position to where they've gone. So they were the ones towards the hill. They pushed down themselves and now repositioned themselves accordingly. Smart playing, and now Kale. Oof, that could be a scary name.
Yeah, DA trying to push in from the north side. They've got MCG that's just kind of holding down these hills, trading back and forth. It looks like they've got one night. Oh no, 2 more knocks now come through, and now DA is down to just 1 player as they try to push there. That grenade not going to fall into the Ents boys. Kale has it pretty much primed and ready to go on the right spot. Oh, they are hurting.
Hurting for sure. Multi-Circle Gaming trying to stay put. There is still one knock that's Mert. Could potentially get picked up, but Multi-Circle Gaming are going to push on in the meantime. Indigo trying to wrap around, do some damage towards Ends. We saw how they got slaughtered on Miramar earlier when they found themselves in a dip. Now it seems like they're in trouble once more. Indigo will push forward. No, he can't get eyes on.
Look at all the fire in that ditch there. Diggory managing to avoid it. There goes DA. They get eliminated by MCG. Ooh. The duo of MCG, the 2v4 coming out of Multi-Circle Gaming there. Diggory hiding, staying alive. Flip over, get him. Oh, that's 1. Indigo is so low. You spot him. Doesn't know where he is. Oh, the snake-prone gamer.
I like the play from Indigo. Smart to prone it down. He knew he was gonna he knew he had the Ents player forced to make the wrap around, and he just waited on the side of the smoke. Takes him down, gets the kill, stays alive, and will be able to get the reds up onto Kale as well. Great play from Indigo. And as you said, I mean, DA eliminated now. 2 teams out at 29. Element 36, or sorry, Interforce 36, still sitting below them. Noatra peeked over, got himself a flush onto Mao Yi, but he's gonna fall immediately after as well.
Well, all this is going on, T1 only has 1 player left alive, and it's Aqua 5. And he is outside of the circle, holding it down, trying to win a 1v1 against M200, while this trading grenades coming through from Bury Run. Oh, nicely done by Godmeow. And that is going to be it for GEX. I'm kind of keeping an eye on my map here to see how this M200 versus Aqua 5 1v1 goes, because that could be T1 going out and being our last place team. There it is.
This is terrifying. Oh, the nade is good. No, doesn't explode just in time. Aqua 5 is on its own. As you said, he is fighting for survival. He is fighting to get to play these survival matches coming in next week, and he stays alive, at least for now. And that's placement points too, and that's going to seal the deal. DA are going to miss week 2. I did not think I would get to say that. I did not for a second believe DA, out of the 16 teams playing today, would finish up in the bottom of the leaderboards. But they got 7 points yesterday. That just ain't gonna cut it. 27 points today will tie them up with the 2 other teams sitting above them. But I assume this is taking the kills into account as well. And that ain't enough. Divine and GX stay alive. They stay afloat. Now for T1, Aqua 5. 1 more kill, and that will just stay alive for 2 more placements, and you find yourself a few more games to play next week.
Well, you got to look at the bright side of this. If you're a DA fan, this is going to give them a whole week's worth of time to kind of sit down with their coaches, with everybody, get back into scrims, kind of, shake everything off, reset for next week. It's 1 week gone. That's not the end of the world. We still got plenty of time left to play. Plenty of time left for them to make some money.
And also the thing is, they haven't, it's not just been a downhill spiral all the way through. They've been playing some amazing PUBG. They've been playing extremely well. Unfortunately, yesterday just gave them all their bad games combined, and that set them off at a pretty big deficit coming into today. So even though today overall was pretty decent, 22 points in a day, that's over 5 points in average. I'm not saying it was a good day today. I'm saying it was a decent
17 points came from their win.
Yeah. I'm just talking average here. I'm just talking averages here. I'm just saying a 5-point average on a day is decent, but the 7 points from yesterday, because they had such a poor day yesterday, a decent day today weren't going to cut it, and I think they knew that too.
Yeah. Well, now they've got time to think about how to fix things here as Multi-Circle Gaming coming off of that 2v5 victory against DA in the north side. They've managed to get Lingdu inside the circle. Tank still has to make his way in, while C's is just going to snake his snaky little way through the grass and see if he can make it. E36, meanwhile, for a team that was sitting at the bottom, this is about the best possible situation they could have ever asked for, as they have the compound. They are dead center, and they are just vibing.
That Aqua 5 just jumped 3 spots off of 1 kill in that one. That is insane. He knows how much every point means here. Kale finds one as well. Every single kill these guys can get could bounce them up. I mean, if you're looking at down 1 key, there might only be 2 alive, but there's a chance for them to go out and take first place here and get half the games at least to play. And I mean, every game except for one. Sorry, make that coming into the weekly finals. Indigo finds one, will go down and return, though. Multi-Circle Gaming stays alive and eliminates down 1.
That duo from MCG is having one hell of a game right now. Okay, Five does go down. Buriram still alive. Nope, no more. Day Trade stepping it up in a big way here in this game. They've got 3 kills. They've got a great compound. Can they get the win, though? Also have the 3-man of Zenith has managed to make it all the way into this part of the game as well. So this could be huge for them. If they can snake this win out, they could find themselves with a bunch of games to play. Oh, goodbye, Naradra.
Nadra didn't want to give up any points, I guess. That's, I mean, he did give up points by dying, but that's just placement points. We'll see now. New circle. Over towards the west we go. Entry Force 36. Once again, enjoying the circle going in their direction. And seeing it, I mean, they had a chance against Entry Force, to be fair, on Miramar earlier today to claim wins. They ended up over-aggressing a bit, at least in my book, and paid the price for it. Let's see if Zenith can maybe wrap up some more points in the end of this game.
I'll tell you what, MCG has a really nice spot, this ridge line to work with, and they have nobody to worry about. I mean, you can see them just off to the left there. They have this high ground. They can see everything. If anybody gets knocked, they don't have to worry about getting pushed. Multiple angles. We have to see what Day Trade decides to do here. They've got all 4 up, but this is going to be rough sledding to get across this street between, I mean, pretty much every team in the lobby is just waiting for Day Trade to make their move.
You say rough sledding, I say practically impossible. It's not only are they going up against everyone, but the teams that they are going up against are all the teams that haven't had to use any utility yet. So nades will be spammed as soon as they start throwing their smokes and make their way forward. It's gonna be tricky. And to be fair, I mean, for Entry Force 36, it's gonna be on them to hold them off, because if they allow just one player up to their wall or anywhere close, they need to start focusing on that, and that means they can't scout or look outside the building further than what's just outside the wall. So they need to prevent that from happening in order to not get overrun themselves.
Roth making sure that nobody is coming out of the city here. But here we go. Let the smokes fly. Looks like Roth might have been picked out here. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it away. He's waiting, hoping that Day Trade starts to make a run. Venotica going to find him, though, through the smoke and the flame. Tank maybe see if we can finish him off with the Molotov. But here we go. Day Trade finally going to start. Oh, Zenith is the one doing the damage here.
Solid damage coming in from the side. I don't think the smoke quite caught the angle there. Now, Nurin's trying to get the reses up, but mate, that ain't gonna happen. Shinboy finds the double. Nurin's tries to stay put. Final circle closing in. So much damage coming in. One more nut comes in. Manatika falls down. It's just Nurin's left alive, trying to claim more points. And to be fair, they're tied now with Buriram, so one more placement point, and he will get at least, or they will get at least one more game to play coming into the weekly survival matches.
And that double nade, look at this. Zenith picking up all these kills is absolutely huge. They are climbing up the leaderboard. They now find themselves in 7th. If they can find a way to take care of MCG and E36 here, they would find themselves up in that top 5. They'd be playing on day 1.
Yeah, there's a good chance that's going to happen. We'll see they're in a decent position right now. They do still have Multi-Circle Gaming on the other side, and I think with the circle closing in the way that it is right now, they can't wrap over. Because the windows from the building are faced this way, they can't make the run on over without isolating the compound first, and I mean, you're 3 alive, entry force 36. It goes back to the other game. Go do something with the position you're in. Ammonot is outside the building, but push out, get on the roof maybe, try and do something to get some vision, get some control, because you're allowing the other team here to hold you off. And contradictory to last time we saw this happen on Miramar, this time around Zenith are waiting, they're patient, they're holding, they know the compound's going to be out, and they're just allowing for them to, well, be the death of themselves.
This has actually been really well played by Zenith. They're pushing and putting pressure onto E36 while also holding MCG, making sure that they don't peek up over the top. I'm not now going to try to switch around, see if he likes the north side here a little bit better, but he gets taken pretty low as well. Roth is going to find Lingdu. That's a good push there from Zenith, but though it does expose him now to Pure Boy, so Pure Boy will pick up that 1 kill. Now it's down to 2 from Zenith, 3 up still for E36.
Will he rest just to deny? Nope, not gonna happen. He's gonna try and move for the forward tank, making his way on his own, trying to see if he can claim some more points in this game. Zenith will fall once again. Enter Force 36 prevail and staying alive inside, but Tank able to find one. He is still in a 1v2. There's barely any space left in this circle. The blue is on him in a second, and here is Pure Boy and Satu. 1v2 Tank, do you have it in you?
Through the smoke. Okay, Satu will find it, and that will be Enter Force 36 with the final win of the day. And that will secure them, I believe, with that 10th place spot. Yeah.
That was their only 4 kills this entire game. It's, I mean, you can never take anything away from a team winning a game, because winning a game, we've seen it in the weekly survivals, is incredibly difficult at this stage and at this tournament overall in this competitive level of PUBG. But I have to say, yes, they go out and get 2 wins today. If that's your storyline, that's a great storyline. Yeah. But if you look at those games and how they come to those 2 wins, that will not happen again once we add some of the more aggressive teams to the lobby. They're not going to be allowed to. It's simple as that. They're not going to be allowed to go out and get wins the way they've done today when more aggressive, like more commanding teams are going to come back in the game and play in the weekly survival matches. They will be the ones being pushed around if they don't start asserting some dominance themselves.
Yeah, I mean, look, everything they've accomplished, if we're being absolutely real, it's because they got a circle, they got a compound, they got circle luck all the way to the end, and they just survived. And you know what? That's what you want to do in the weekly survival matches, sure. But when you get down to those weekly finals, should you find yourself playing in that position, like you said, it's not going to cut it. I mean, they're not getting kills anywhere else. You know, they got 2 firsts today and 2 10ths with 0 points. I mean, that's Enter Force 36 for you right now. So yeah. I don't know. But you know what? I know somebody who does know, and that will be our gentleman on the desk who will wrap this all up for us and put a nice tiny bow on it. Boys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Poro. Yes, indeed. Fantastic casting as ever, gentlemen. Thank you so much. We are about to conclude today. That is it. All games, all 8 of them, said and done for the reseeding. Gents, it's been a wild ride, but ultimately we'll kind of wrap up how that last game finished. Enter Force 36. As Poro said, Clinton, it's been a bit of hit and miss. 2 wins today, but also 2 10th places. Certainly a bit of inconsistency there, but getting the win nevertheless.
Yeah, I mean, it's very cautious play style from E36 as they typically drop North George, and you know the circle ends up right around it, so they're just kind of able to hang out in their homes and chill there and get it done. And that's a couple times they've done it today, right? That's their 2nd win today. But like they mentioned, not a lot of kill points to bolster the wins for E36 finds them further down the leaderboard than probably you would expect with a team that wins 2 games in 8. I mean, they play solid defense, but they can't rely on that going forward. I think Toby was making good points. They got to get out. They got to start reaching out for those kills because right now, you know, the wins are clearly not enough.
Yeah, I mean, further afield down that, we said, Cami, looking at kind of what more can we see from multi-circle gaming, we were saying you do have those ups and downs, but certainly a 2nd place finish, 3rd for Zenith, 4th for Day Trade Gaming. We've been seeing these names throughout, obviously, the last 2 days because this is where we are at the end of the day, but certainly up in the upper echelons, massive signs of improvement and certainly better positions across the board from MCG.
Yeah, not just MCG, also for Kia and for a number of these different teams that either they started the weekly survival a little slow, in MCG's case, the entire event really slow, or even just this weekend again. I think when we see the final leaderboard, the majority of teams on the top are going to be mostly expected, or maybe not that much of a surprise, but there are a couple of hits here and there, and I think we can go into specifics when that leaderboard shows up, but it's not really going to be much of a surprise to see Detonation Gaming still at the top, which would be a surprise if you told someone last week that that was going to be the case, but considering how they've been playing from basically the very, very beginning, even before they had their win of the final game of yesterday, they've been looking really, really solid.
So we'll take a look at the final standings, how this leaves us. Signing up at the top, Detonation Gaming will be the first team to enter the weekly survival. Ensign second. Down One Gaming, a team that has been ever so quiet, finally steps up to the plate and makes it into third. While it's a little bit tough at the top, it's been tough at the bottom, and we have to speak about it. It looks like China has handed passed the book all the way to Digital Athletics. Now Europe will hold the 32nd seed. Digital Athletics will not be playing next week. They will go into the reseeding matches for week number 3, and they will try and battle it out through there. Now, it's it could have been anyone's. It was a bit of a toss-up, to be fair, down at the bottom, Clinton. I mean, it was T1 ultimately that put the nail in the coffin for DA, but I have to say, like, this was done on frag points because you've got 3 tied up on 29. The first 4 games, Clinton, they had 4 frags across 4 matches. Like, it just doesn't cut it.
And it's really surprising with this Digital Athletics squad that they can't get it done even on kills. Typically, they're a high fragging team. I mean, they're setting up traps.
Yeah.
They're really strong on Miramar. Typically, they were absolutely abysmal on Miramar for the most part here this weekend. Other than the first game, of course. But other than that, they were awful. I mean, they have the 1 win there, but they're just not getting it done like I'm used to seeing. There's a lot of damage. We even saw Code Marco up there in top 3 for the top 5 for damage, and he's still not doing it. I mean, they're still not getting the kills, they're not getting the points. And if you're going to tell me that, you know, GEX and LG Divine are ahead of Code Marco DA in kills, then I would have been shocked coming into this weekend.
All right, then, let's talk about what's next on our screens then, because it's going to be an absolute bloodbath today. We are going into our first Championship Sunday. This will be our first weekend finals. 2 Miramar, 3 Erangel. There's a lot of teams, Cammy, that are looking to succeed here. There's a lot of night and day scenarios as well. Na'Vi, all the way down at the bottom. We talk about abysmal performances. Yesterday was terrible for them. But the other side, when it comes to Europe, Liquid performing exceptionally well. Like, today, certain teams, Cammy, any particulars that we talk about the grand finals that you're looking forward to seeing?
I just hope that Sonics really pick it up, because them being that you mentioned Na'Vi in 16th, Sonics in 15th is not the Sonics that we expected. So in a similar instance, the weekly finals has a lot of surprises and shuffles that were unexpected, similar to the bottom 16 reseeding that we just saw.
Wonderful stuff. Right then, guys, that's it. We're going to wrap it up for now for the reseeding. We are said and done. We move on to the grand finals. Then we wrap it all again back into the weekly survival. And then we come back here next week, same time, same place. For now, enjoy the show. Don't go anywhere. And we'll see you guys on the other side. Take it easy.
Hello, PUBG Esports fans. The PUBG Global Invitational.S, our biggest tournament yet, begins in February. With a tournament this big, there's a lot to take in. So let's take a look at the format and rules of PGI.S 2021. PGI.S's main event, the weekly series, will be held for a total of 6 weeks starting from February 8th. It is divided into the weekly survival taking place on weekdays and the weekly final held over the weekend. Unlike the previous global tournaments, points are not accumulated week over week, giving every team the same fighting chance each week. Weekly survival features 16 matches held across 3 weekdays. The goal for teams is simple: win a single chicken dinner. Once you win, you stop playing and move on to the weekly final. The next team on the waitlist takes your place and a new match begins. This list is determined by ranked decision matches to decide the order our 32 teams participate. These 24 deciding matches take place over 3 days starting from February 5th and will divide our teams into 4 different groups. The top 16 teams from these groups face off in the weekly survival matches first. The weekly final is more like the PUBG Esports you're used to. 10 matches are held across 2 days, and points the teams earn are added up to decide their final ranking for the week. The 16 teams that played in the weekly final get the first shot at next week's weekly survival. and the remaining 16 teams decide their placement on the waitlist during a bottom 16 match held every Saturday, before the weekly final. From there, the cycle continues throughout the tournament. One of the big differences with PGI.S is that instead of receiving prize money based on your final rank is determined by how much prize money you've won. We're awarding prize money every week, and the team who has collected the most at the end will be crowned our PGI.S champion. Here's how it breaks down. The first 8 teams to win a weekly survival match each week take home an automatic cash prize, earning more the sooner they win. From there, the winners of the weekly finals tournament get an even bigger cash prize. The first place prize being $25,000 on week 1, and growing to an astounding $500,000 by week 6, giving teams lots of opportunity to catch up and claim the title. Winning isn't the only way teams are earning cash, though. 30% of the total profit made from PGI.S item sales goes back to participating teams. This money will be distributed based on the percentage of money each team won in the tournament, with bigger rewards for the higher performing teams. So, not only do you get cool skins and voting coupons to earn even more cool skins, but you're also helping your favorite teams bring home more well-deserved prize money. Win-win! That about wraps up our overview of the PUBG Global Invitational.S. Initial ranking decisions happen on February 5th, and the first official matches kick off on February 8th. So be sure to tune in, pick your winners, and cheer on your favorite teams across 8 weeks of intense PUBG action.